Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Hunter Houston ESG. We appreciate y'all coming back in and being with us tonight. Now, tonight, we're going to do a show on many different things. And what I'm excited about is I'm going to, because I got to talk to our co host last night about anime and some other things. But anime is going to be number one. A few things I'd like to talk about. She's currently listening to the Harry Potter on audio. I don't know if she's watched the movies, so I'm going to ask her about the movies if she's watched them. Have you watched the movies?
I have not.
Wow, that's awesome. Neither has my child. Um, so, so I'm going to ask her something about the books. I'm not going to spoil anything for her since she hasn't seen the movies, and I've listened to the books, and we're also going to talk about things that are fun to do at theme parks. In other words, or a carnival. I don't know if anybody here. I'm pretty sure everybody's been to a carnival or a Renaissance festival where you dress up as medieval times, stuff like that. And so those are some of the topics we may hit on, and maybe some other things as we go along. I want to say a big special shout out to the super awesome people who do like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much. You are amazing and awesome. And I do appreciate each and every person does. And if you haven't liked or subscribed, maybe this will be the night we earn your subscription or we earn a chance to have you actually check out our show. Without that further ado, Bug, how are you tonight and how are things going?
I'm doing wonderful and things are going awesome. Got a new Funko Pop this week, and so far so good.
And may I ask what type of Funko Pop did you get?
I found the Trigun one where he's holding the gun and he's like battle stance. I have never seen a Trigun. You know how hard it is to find Trigun merchandise anywhere. It is so nice to finally come across something.
Now, do you know there's actually a Trigon game?
No, I didn't know that. Well, I'm not really surprised. I know that it was incredibly popular there for a while.
It was never released here in America. It was only released over in Japan and I think also Asia as well. And I believe it's only for PS2. And now if there is one for PS3, I did not see it. And I think he may have made it to one of the Shonen Jump games over there, but not over here, which he deserves to be in it. Awesome series, awesome anime. Um, can you show us the pop?
Absolutely. You can probably see him very vaguely here in the
I do
background.
I do see him right there.
Yeah, look at him.
All right, fair enough. Blurp. Dropping everything. It's all right. Gonna get the pop. Boyo pop. Boyo pop. Boyo boyo
Now,
boyo
I would
pop.
like to note that this Funko Pop, the reason why I got him is because he's very similar to the original design and not his newer one. And for those looking at the video, you can see he's got like the classic red cape kind of swishing out, holding the gun. I absolutely love it. I'm not actually that big into Funko Pops. But when I come across a cool one, I do like to take it out of its box. I know that's blasphemous for some people.
The
And
humanoid and was it the humanoid android himself, or I always say that incorrectly. I know it's humanoid something or other.
humanoid typhoon.
Yeah, yeah, the humanoid typhoon, the
Yeah,
$10 billion man,
10 billion double dollar.
double dollars. That's correct.
Yeah, double dollar. I want to get his brother a million knives to go like right beside him, but I can't find that one. I saw it on the box on the back of the box, but
Oh, so
I'm
that other
looking.
so his brother does exist. Wow.
Yeah, didn't you see the manga for it?
For the fun pop.
No, no, I'm talking about for Trigun in
Yes,
general.
yes, yes. Yeah, I saw the manga for it. Trigon's just awesome onto itself. I love the character design. I love how he's torn. I like how the two girls are like they don't believe him even when he says all the things that he says. They never because he's such a he's conflicted all the time, and that's what makes him so different from your average typical, I guess, protagonist. That he's always conflicted, and he always wants to help people.
Yeah. It's also a really good example. I think the show is like just because you don't personally kill anybody or like doing nothing at all is the same as just going ahead and blowing up a town. Like if you don't do anything to actually stop what's going to happen, then you're just as guilty. But did you see that they took out Millie in the new series that they're redoing for it?
Why?
Did you?
Millie was super awesome. I loved her.
She's getting replaced by an old dude. I mean, he is
What?
in the manga. This old man is in the manga, but they completely took out Millie.
But
Yep,
Millie was cool.
they took her out. They took her out, and I'm like, oh, she was a great character. I mean, she was a really good gag character.
Well, the thing was is that she's kind of like low key, like you know, bad A. She's like a kick butt girl character, and she's one of the few that I really enjoyed. My favorite female anime character is Lisa Hayes. Because I'm a Robotech guy slash whatever, and I always tell people who love anime. I married Lisa Hayes. I had a Min May, but I married Lisa Hayes. If for those who know Robotech slash Super Dimension Fortress Macross, you understand. If not, I will actually go into detail if people send me some information. But I married Lisa Hayes, not Min May. I love Min May, but I also loved Lisa Hayes as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's now I have to see. Are you talking about like looks or like personality for the character?
Personality. Both are unbelievably beautiful. Both are unbelievably awesome. But the personality of to say my Min May was a lot like the other Min May. She'd done some modeling for Bravo magazine because I lived over in Germany. She'd done some other modeling, whereas my wife has never done no modeling. I think the only thing she ever did like was a little cheerleading and like very vaguely cheerlead like for like maybe 1 year. And she's like 5'4", whereas this other individual is like 6 even. So there's a huge difference between 5'4" and 6 even. I
Yeah,
actually, but no, I always say if you can, guys, marry Elisa Hayes. The Min Mays are really beautiful, but the Min Mays are going to drive you insane. Uh, get Elisa Hayes for those who know that manga, know that anime. Lisa Hayes is the way to go because she's smart, she's beautiful, she's intelligent, she's brave, and she makes good decisions. And she's not scared to be strong. There you go.
that's great. I mean, yeah, definitely. Don't we have some shout out questions tonight?
Well, some shout out questions. Let me go hunt these bad boys down here. Okay. Just Kane Walking would like to say, let's see here if I have it correctly. Um, I think I wrote that down wrong. I'd have to look that back up. But basically, he said, "What do you think of Hotel Transylvania?" In other words, what do you like about Hotel Transylvania, the animated series? Because it is a series now. Because it's not a trilogy. Because there's more than three. So more than three. Does that make it a quadruple? What does more than three make? Is that
You know,
is that a
I have no
quadruple or is that
ideas.
so it's just a series at that point, correct? Or no? Am I wrong?
I honestly don't know the technical term for it, but yeah, I think you would call it like a series. I
Okay,
mean,
because they
maybe.
haven't canceled it, and I feel like it's still going after this one.
I mean, it might. Here, let me see. More. I'm
uh,
googling.
you
Or
know, I
then,
I would assume that Amazon's going to make it a TV series. I mean, because they have that contract with them, and I think they're actually doing something with Selena Gomez herself. Um, Shout out to Selena Gomez; she's super awesome. She'll never listen to the show or know we gave her a shout out, but you are super awesome and stay strong, young lady. Um, Now, while you're looking that up, I want to talk about the show itself. I love the first one. I thought the first one was amazing. Second one was good. The third one, I was kind of like, okay. The fourth one, I was like, I'm checked out. I don't even know why I'm watching this. I wanted it to be really good, but it wasn't as good as the first and the second. The third one was decent, but just the first and the second one really were super good. And was David Spade and his boys even in the other one, or was it just him and Adam Sandler? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I mainly liked it because of Adam Sandler, because I'm a big Adam Sandler fan. Fan of his comedy, fan of his drama work. I mean, just overall, the guy
right.
is really funny. He's also a really great example of a guy with a lot of money who doesn't flaunt it. I mean, have you ever seen any pictures of Adam Sandler out in public? He's dressed just like the way my husband dresses normally. I love
Well,
it.
fun fact is that I learned a lot from Neil Schlesinger when I lived in New York. When I worked at his restaurant as a waiter slash busboy, and he always told me. Now, no, I don't have anything myself, but if I did, he said, Crawford, don't ever let people see you dressed too nicely, and never have a fancy car, because then people will dislike you not because of your car, it's because of unnecessary jealousy, because they see something that you have that they don't have, and they think you got it by ill wills or ill gains, or you gained the system, even though you worked hard for it. Now, this was probably back when I was 19, so like literally like almost 20 plus years ago. Um, so probably longer than that actually. Probably about 25 years ago. And I've never forgotten the words from Neil Schlesinger. When every time I go back home to New York to see my parents, I go. Well, I try to go and see Mr. Neil Schlesinger, but it's an awesome guy, and just what you said with the Adam Sandler thing. Um, always dress casual, regardless of what you got, and then people leave you alone, because then there's no hate, because no one sees you in anything. So that's where I'm getting at with the story I was going. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's fine. He dresses, I think, just like he dresses really much like a very tired dad, and I love it. Oh, to answer the question, what is a series of four called? Apparently, it's called a quadology or a
Why?
teralogue.
Oh, I like Carolog. This sounds very
Yeah,
interesting. I'm gonna start saying that.
Tetralog.
Carolog.
Teralogue.
Carolog.
All right,
And
now
now,
I feel smarter.
now I'm going to go with Now, what did you think of the series so far? And then I'm gonna go with a different email that I had received.
Oh, um, first movie, really loved it. Really loved the story. I thought it was kind of funny that the guy from Brooklyn Nine played
Andy
the
Samberg.
human. Yeah, Andy Samberg. I mean, he's funny even on Friday Night Live when it was still okay. Love everything he's in. I really love Mavis as a character. I think they did a really good job making her a modern goth girl without
Selena
going too.
Gomez.
Yeah, yeah, like without going too far. I'm talking about like character design,
Okay. Yeah.
like
Oh, I agree.
yeah. I mean, that's good. I mean, they really portrayed a really good six like going on. What was it like? Like she's on her 1600th birthday or something like that. Um, but like they did a really good job showing her as both an adult and a teen, like at the same time. I mean, really, really good. Second movie was really sweet. I love the frizzy orange haired vampire and like that the random story between him and the little werewolf girl. That was cute. Because
Which
that
was
that
David Spade's child.
yeah, the love hate relationship there, I can honestly say, was very much very similar to the way me and my husband got together. That's for sure. Uh, let's see. Third movie, I think, was a really good end to the series. You know, that was the dad finally coping with the fact that he lost his wife. I mean, it was really cute. I mean, now, of course, I do know that all these movies are just pure comedy and family films, but I still love a really good baseline story. I felt like the fourth one was just a little bit too much. I don't think it was really necessary to make all the monsters humans and all the humans monsters, because if you kind of think about it, they were all human at one point. So I just really don't feel like there was that big of an underlying lesson there or story other than just now Dracula understands what it's like to be human. You know, like I feel like that was it.
Now, do you know who voiced the love interest in number three? Was it Molly Shannon or Fran Dresser? Fran Dresser. Sorry,
I want to.
you're
Gosh,
gonna
I
look
know.
that up now,
I'm gonna look it up.
because I'm sitting here with it in my back, and I'm reading the thing. I'm going to say it's Molly Shannon.
I think it's the one that looks just like her.
and she was an amazing actress, and I still love the one where she plays the Catholic schoolgirl, the Saturday Night Live character who got her own show, her own movie.
Are you talking
That's
about Superstar?
yes, that was a good movie.
Oh, I love Superstar. Superstar. I remember we had that on VHS when I was a kid, and I would watch it, and then when we would rewind it, and it wasn't until years later where I realized that football star
Uh huh.
was Will Ferrell. I didn't realize it until like years later, and I decided to rewatch it. I'm like, wow, there is a lot of people
That's before
in
Will
this
Ferrell
movie.
got any actual love, and what I mean by actual love is like he would be a character actor in everybody else's movies. Old, Saturday Night Live guys or whatever. He'd be a character actor in their movies, and then when he started doing his own thing, people are like, "Oh, he's actually funny on his own." But for a while, he was just a character actor in everybody else's movies, doing these crossover things, and they were super awesome. If you ever saw like what is it, old school wedding, was it not Wedding Singer, Wedding Crashers. Just super awesome, just doing cameos in those, and the whole "You're my boy, Blue."
Yeah. So you know, it is Fran who plays her.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it was either Fran or Molly Shannon. How unfortunate, because I love Molly Shannon more than I love Fran Dresser. I just don't like her voice, and I understand
Oh
like
wait,
it.
Wanda. Wait, was her name Wanda or Eustace? What was her name?
Wanda.
Okay, then it was Molly. It was Molly Shannon then.
Okay,
Yeah. And then who was Eustace in the show? Who's that? Who's
I do not
Eustace?
know. I'd have to go back and watch it, or else you have to look at the bio.
I'm googling. I'm like, I don't remember a character named Eustace.
But no, I,
Eustace.
I really enjoyed number one the most out of that.
Oh, Eustace. Eustace is the oh
The invisible character.
no. Yeah, well, when I say it, it's gonna be like, oh, because it's Fran. Um, Fra- uh,
Frankenstein's
Frankenstein's
wife.
monster's wife. Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
Miss Frankenstein, or I forgot what it was originally called. No, the Bride of Frankenstein. There we go.
Bride of
Yeah,
Frankenstein.
okay,
That's
the
it.
Bride of
I
Frankenstein.
forgot the name Frankenstein there for a second.
But no, I mean the first one was super super good. And for those who are not familiar with Andy Samberg, and outside of 911, New York, was it New York? No, is it New York 911 or is it just 911?
Are you talking about Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah, Brooklyn Nine Nine. He also has a group that is not family friendly for kids, but if you are an adult and you want to listen to his group, they're called Lonely Island, and they put out some amazing, funny tracks. I actually sometimes drive, and I'll have something going where the beat's really awesome, and someone's pulled up beside me, and like my windows are down, and then all of a sudden they start hearing the lyrics, and then they just look over at me like you, because the beats dope. I mean, the beats are unbelievably good. All their beats are super awesome. If you've never listened to Lonely Island, but then like the lyrics are kind of joke lyrics. And then you'll have special guests like Justin Timberlake's. You'll have Rihanna. You'll have
He did
what's it?
one with Jimmy Fallon called Plant Dad, which is funny.
Yes. Lazy Sunday, which is like was yeah, no, the Chronicles of Narnia, which is the guy one of the best voice actors for cartoons right now. I can't think of his name. He used to be on Saturday Night Live, but does great voice acting for cartoons. He's actually a character on Archer. Um, then who else is it besides Justin Timberlake? There's a few. Oh, Black Jack's done some stuff with them. Parnell from Nerds, or I guess then just people don't even realize he was ever with the Nerds anymore. They just think of Parnell by himself. They don't realize where he got started, which was with Nerds. And he have you ever heard him in Nerds before he became Parnell?
No.
Okay, look up if you ever get a chance. You want to listen to their stuff. I strongly recommend it if you like kind of like a techno rock because their stuff had super great beats. They did like a lot of gaming soundtracks. A lot of people don't know, and they produced a lot of. I mean, Purnell and the Nerds produced a lot of music. Um, what was it? The whenever a girl went out on her own, Gwen Stefani, I think her first two albums were produced by Purnell and the Nerds, even though, it was just Purnell, name attached to it. But the Nerds were helping Purnell at that time still. I mean, if you care about that type of music. A lot of people don't like Gwen Stefani. Um, but she's all right. I didn't like her last album though.
I don't really listen to much music. If you remember, I mainly
I know
just
you're
books.
you're you're more a book person. I listen to all forms of music. Now, the other email is from way back in the way back in the cut. One. I don't know if that's a zero or an O. 1012. And the question is, do you speak Spanish? Because I guess they heard that you are, with a man of Latin descent.
Ah, well, in that case, I'll be very plain and very honest. No hablo español. Uh, entiende mucho. Pretty much
Okay.
it. All right. I've
Okay.
been with my husband for about going on 8 years. I'm at the point where I can understand pretty much what's being said around me, but not really a good firm speaker. I'm not confident enough to say I speak Spanish, but I am confident enough to say I understand about a good 80 to 85% of any given conversation.
That's the way I was in Germany toward German, where I could half but speak it. But like I understood almost all the conversation. The only time I didn't understand it is when, because remember the wall had just came down, and so the East Germans spoke like a different dialect, and there's like three different dialects, and like legit there's either three or four different German dictionaries that if someone like this if someone writes you a letter, you'll break out your dictionary to see like have you ever heard the word bitte or bitte schön?
Roughly.
Okay, bitte can mean three different things, or even more in that in German. Bitte can mean like please. Bitte can mean like a thank you. Bitte schön can be like thank you very much, or much appreciated. It depends upon, I guess, how you your body languages or how you express yourself when you're saying it. Like when I first started to learn German, I was trying to talk to a young lady, and I lived on the German economy. And I was talking to my German friends, and I said, "Yeah, go up to her and say, du bist hässlich." I'm like, "Okay, what does that mean?" It's like, "Oh, you're going to tell her she's very pretty." So I go over to her, and I'm trying to talk to her and stuff like that. And I say, "Oh, du bist hässlich," and she looks at me, and she looks over at them, and they're all laughing. I'm like, "Excuse me for a minute." I walk back. So what did I say to her? They're like, "Oh, you told her she's ugly." You said you are ugly, and so I go over to her and I said, I don't know if you speak English, which it's required for them to learn some form of English, but they learn the Queen's English, not the American English. And so I'm talking to her, and I apologize to her because these guys set me up for failure. And said it's okay. We don't have very many Americans who come through here, and so because I live in the German economy, I didn't live where all the Americans lived, and that was a hard lesson because don't just let people tell you what to say. It's like if you say, "Hey, tell me how to say this in Spanish." No, there's this new thing called a phone in Google, and you can ask it to say something in Spanish, and it'll tell you, and it won't lie to you. It'll tell you the truth, and then practice saying it, and then say it to your Spanish friends. Like there's three different sayings that sound really cool in Greek, but they sound like crap in English, and so I actually practice saying them, so whenever I get to tell the story about X, things that lead into me being able to use that phrase, I always say that phrase incorrectly, and then I'll come back and I'll say it correctly, and I practice it so many times, like I'm an actor of saying it correctly. But it's because it's so cool, you forget how cool it is. You ever said something really cool in Spanish and it's really hard to pronounce? You can't say it again.
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. But with the whole Google Translate thing, and this is not an ad for it, I recently went down to Mexico for about maybe 4 or 5 days with my husband. It was a lot of fun, big adventure. I am once again, I can understand about a good 80, 85% of it. And we were kind of in an area of Mexico where nobody spoke any English whatsoever. So I actually had to use my Google Translate for my side of the conversation because my husband can't be the ultimate communicator for me 100% of the time and also carry on his own conversations. So, I mean, that Google Translate is a big help when you're in a situation like that.
Where is the restaurant?
Yeah, baño. The word is baño.
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 That sounds cool. That's it. That sounds like almost like a banjo. It's like got a banjo. It's a banjo. All right. Well, let's get started on the actual show itself. And I would like to take some time to say there are some certain animes that I'd like to touch on that I don't know that Bug has watched yet. I hope she has. Have you ever heard of Berserk?
I have heard of Berserk. I have
But you
not.
haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched it.
Okay.
I have watched a whole bunch of anime, but I feel like there's going to be very few that me and you have actually seen.
Have you ever seen Samurai X, the OVAs?
No.
Have you ever seen Roni Kenshin?
No.
Wow. And it used to come on Cartoon Network for the masses too. Well, y'all got a censored version of it, but it came on Cartoon Network for the masses.
Well, we weren't really allowed too much TV time growing up. I mean, I was able to do like Saturday morning stuff with my dad and mom, but my parents were really big on going outside and playing.
Touch the
Um,
grass, people. Touch the
yeah,
grass.
I wasn't really introduced to anime until I was about roughly 15.
Okay. Now, what animes have you ever read the manga Read or Die or watched the anime Read or Die?
No.
Okay. I would recommend it to you because it's about a young lady who's, I guess she's kind of being bullied, and she finds this book, and she becomes a witch. In the Japanese sense, and then she goes into this mystical world. It's really cool. A lot of things of that, kind of lead into like, who J.K. Rowling is because you're reading Harry Potter. A lot of her stuff, if you read different mangas, and older mangas like I've read, or just older anime that I've watched, a lot of her stuff is taken from there. And this is where I give her a lot of credit, man, because she was living on government assistance. She didn't have anything. She had a broken marriage or whatever. She got her stuff together, put together this amazing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, not the sorceress. That'd be Sword in the Sorceress. And The fact was, she was able to get away from the things she was going through, but I admire the fact that she took, or at least I like to think she took from these different mangas, because she would go to different places and go and read other things. And it's kind of like if when you're in school and you're in college, and someone said write a summary, go get these books, write a summary, and put your spin on it. And a lot of things from Harry Potter, even though it's her own universe, if you watched all these old mangas from like the 80s and early 90s, sh I like to think she's very hard. I mean, she may never admit it, because you don't want to have to pay anybody. But I really think she was heavily influenced by manga onto itself, or even older anime. I mean, do you feel that way from reading the books, from what you read so far, or no?
I honestly believe art is always inspired by different types of art, whether we realize it or not. So, I mean, it could very well be maybe she saw some anime she liked and was like, "Hey, this is a really good idea." I mean, I've heard that there's different ways that she came across this series. My favorite one, and I don't know if this is true. I want to be sued for this. I
So,
don't
so,
know if
so,
this
so
is
to say
true.
allegedly.
Allegedly,
Yes.
she got the idea for Harry Potter while she was coked out on the side of the road. Yeah, and it was like that was like her high dream was like wizards and crap. That's always my favorite theory. Um, but actually, that reminds me of an anime I was recently watching, and it's a very big Harry Potter ripoff. It's a series I think that just finished on Crunchyroll or any other. I think it's on Crunchyroll Fanimation. It's called Muscles and Monoscules, and it's about a wizarding school that only certain people are in. And there's actually a game that the wizards play that is very, very similar to Quidditch with the golden hoops and the brooms. And I'm like, they are definitely 100% taking Like this is a complete rip off from Harry Potter. They even have the bludgeoners that they throw at people. It's great.
I need to re-get Harry Potter's Quidditch for one of my systems because I no longer have it for the GameCube because I no longer have a GameCube. Thank you for reminding me that. I'm gonna put that in my notes because I liked that game. That was actually a good game. Now apparently I don't know if you played Hogwarts Legacy or not. An amazing
I've only
game.
just recently started reading the books. I haven't watched any of the movies. I have only just now started reading the books, and I'm
the
almost
The
done
game
with.
is a prequel that has nothing to do with none of the books. So you can play that separately. You can make your own characters. You can make a female character. You can make a non female character. You can make a male character. You can basically make whatever type of character you want in the game. Um, and the story, I'm not going to tell you anything of the story, but it's really good. It leads you in. There's probably about maybe an hour and 30-minute tutorial, but it's a good tutorial of holding your hand. And then once it allows you to go outside of Hogwarts, and then when you finally get the broom, that's when things get wild, and you can just kind of do what you want. And it's an open, like if you ever wanted to be, and you haven't seen any of the movies, so all you have is your imagination right now, which is even better because you don't have these faucets. And now whenever you do go and watch them, you're like, this is not like the book. You're you're gonna be upset because there's certain things missing that you want to be there. And like what? But that's the cool thing about Harry Potter onto itself, or just the world that she created, where there's so many different ways that you can go into it. And again, I think she, like you said, she was inspired. Well, I'm not going to say she was inspired from psychosis of doing certain things, but I think she
I
was.
think it makes the story more interesting. A drug fever dream that she sold to children. I mean, that
Yeah,
sounds
but if you're
funny.
poor though, I mean, coke is a very expensive drug. That's not a cheap drug. That's something very now if it's was it crack cocaine, then I guess that's different because I believe crack is not as expensive as
Like
actual
I heard
cocaine.
this back in like I don't know college.
Oh, okay.
Um, I this is just something I was told when it was first being discussed about me reading the Harry Potter books, because I've been told by a lot of people, oh, with all the books you read, you love Harry Potter, and I'm like, no, I don't want to read Harry Potter. I don't want to read Harry Potter. And they're like, no, no, it's a really good. Apparently, she had like a coked out dream in the side of the ditch for it. I'm like, what? Tell me more. So they gave me like this little tiny story about it. I can't remember it quite vaguely, and it was like that's kind of interesting. But
All right.
I
I
got
want
this in a cafeteria.
Okay, I want to pause for a second, and we'll come back to this. But because we mentioned Harry Potter and we talked so much about Harry Potter, I want to talk about a special thing of Tales from GameStop. So
Oh
when I
goodness.
when I worked at GameStop, there was a lady who was looking for her grandson, and there was a young person in there, probably about maybe I don't know, like 9, 10, or 11. I'm really bad at guessing age. And they were reading a Harry Potter book. They were reading Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Um, so the older lady, and she's old. I mean, probably like in her I don't know 60s or 70s, and she got the almost a hunchback going on and stuff like that because she's old. My grandmother actually had one of those, unfortunately. Um, but because she was old. And she said, "So don't read those Harry Potter books. Those Harry Potter books are the devil." And I had never seen a Harry Potter movie. I was never interested and no, I like to think I'm a Christian, maybe. Uh, but I was like, I was more intrigued to want to pay attention to Harry Potter because the way this woman was going on about Harry Potter, because it's just a book. It's fantasy. It's fiction. It's not real. I mean, so I think eventually I did either read or watch the Harry Potter movie. I'm like, this old lady was wrong. Um, and the thing is, it's like it's just about some kids, go to a thing or whatever. I mean, you could have switched out wizards and witches with I don't know, special tricks or like teaching kids about like you could have made it environmental powers, like the power of wind or whatever. Because it could have been you didn't have to have witches or wizards, but I guess the taboo of witches and wizards is kind of what attracted people to it in the first place. But I never forgot that story, and that story is like probably about 20 something years old. of my tale from GameStop of a lady being upset while she was looking for her grandson. I don't know if she found her grandson or not. She was in the store for about a good, I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes, and then she left, and I've never seen her again. It's like she disappeared and
She
just came
disappeared.
in to tell me about Harry Potter, and that was it.
Yeah, yeah. So we're on the tales from GameStop then.
Yeah, if you like to
All
say
right.
anything about GameStop,
Okay.
you're
I got one
former employees.
experience, and I'll keep it at one experience. So my experience happened last fall. It was when I was first starting to work there. That's not where we're currently, thank God. But we had an issue with our label printer. So the label printer had this, it didn't run off of ink. It was like a lasered thing, which was kind of cool, but it broke all of the time. Like it would print out, and then there was one point where it was printing out only like one label when we needed 20. And we had to fight with it constantly. Like calling customer service to get it fixed was a daily issue. So we would inform people. We had signs up all over the place. Hey, just so you know, some of the stuff is going to be priced very differently. We are going off of the recent dates. You know, because on a GameStop sticker, it actually has the date that it's printed out. It'll be like now you would see a sticker on if it was printed out today. It'd be 0707 23 is what it'll have on it if it was printed out for today. So this woman comes up and she's upset and she's like, I want the $99 headset. And I was like, okay, but just so you know, that headset is not $99, it's 120. No, I want the 99 headset. And she goes over, she takes her finger, and she taps it hard in the glass. She's like, I want this one. And I'm like, okay, but you do know when I scan it, it's going to give you the price. And then I walk her through, hey, just so we know we're having some label issues. There's nothing I can really do. We have to, like we can't just leave things without a label. It has to, like, we were doing the best we could with this crappy little GameStop. She's upset. She's mad. She's yelling at me like I am corporate GameStop. And I'm like, if you want to call and get our label printer fixed, that'd be great. We've been trying to get it fixed for over 2 weeks. We're doing the best we can. That's why we're informing everybody. That's why we have up signs. And she is going off on me about like it's my problem. It's my fault for not having the equipment run properly. It was my fault for not informing her better, and she wanted the box that said 99 on it so that when she called customer service later, she can let them know that I personally ripped her off. She wanted my name, she wanted my employee number. Let's see what else. Oh, then she went on this whole big 10-minute rant, and just so you know, it was around the holiday time, so the store was packed. So she's making a scene in front of 10 to 15 other people just trying to check out. And she is just on this rant about how she owns a business and how she would never even open the doors to her business if her label machine didn't work because that is false advertisement. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? There is nothing I can do. I'm like, there's nothing. She's like, well, you can change the ink. It doesn't work off of ink. It's like this laser printer thing. I don't know. They pay me $11 an hour. I don't know. I don't know what else she wanted me to do.
Well, having been a manager there, I would have gave it to her for 99, but with taxes, it's still going to probably be about 120 anyway.
Honestly,
Um,
we tried that, and the district manager at the time told us we couldn't be doing that many price changes because we would have to do a price change on everything. So we were just told to put up signs and to tell everybody this is just the way it is.
Okay, now if there were signs as you were walking in that said that, then they were in the wrong. But now, if there were no signs and they got up there and it says, "Well, this says so and so bucks," then you would have to give them to it at that. But if there were signs and basically you told everybody, and especially as holiday seasons, like if you had somebody at the front door saying, "Hey, things will be wrongfully priced. Please go up to the front. We have signs out here saying that our printer is basically." I would just lie and say we were hacked and someone basically gave us a bunch of false X, Y, and Z's, and that please be patient and just scan at the front, or we can have somebody come by with a scanner to scan these things for you. Um, that's how I would handle the situation. But sometimes people want to feel like they're getting a deal. In other words, you, you ever saw Tommy Boy? That is one of the greatest movies of all time. I demand that you watch Tommy
I'm
Boy.
just I don't know if I've even seen Tommy Boy here. I mean, it sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
That is
I'm
a Chris Farley and David Spade classic movie. It is required in America eh, to watch Tommy Boy. Tommy Boy is a beloved classic.
It
Um,
looks familiar, but I don't know if I've
there's
seen it, but it looks very familiar.
a line from that movie, and I love that line. And I think that line is in business or in marketing in general. It's like I can take. I'm gonna watch my language here because we're family friendly. I can take a blank in a box and sell it to you and put a guarantee on it, but it's still a blank in a box with a guarantee. Or you can have a good product that's going to be good and work for you. So in other words, people just want that soft, warm feeling of they got a deal, even though it's a piece of crap. Does that make any
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, but there's no reason to when you're with like I've had terrible customer service. I've had I've been on the other end of that where you have just somebody behind the counter doing the absolute best that they can, and I just don't think it's ever reasonable to just yell and scream and make a scene like that. I mean, I
Those are
am
my favorite
human being.
customers. Those are my favorite customers because then I go into theatric mode and I'm like, well, I'm as upset as you are, and let's see how we can do to change that. And then you can pretend to call up corporate. Hello, corporate. This is so and so, and I have a customer here that's upset and mad that you can't get our things to work. How are you going to fix that?
Yeah, but see, it's GameStop, so it's here. I'm gonna call corporate 40 minutes later. Don't worry, we are almost there. Because
No,
they never pick up.
most of the time I wouldn't even call anybody at all. I would like pretend to dial numbers and then like do the little click thing, and then I would just be theatrics for the sake of being theatrics because I thought that was funny, and then the person would no longer be mad at me. They'd be mad at the phone. So I would project their madness to the phone. And I would say, I don't understand why you can't help these people out. These people are amazing. They're awesome. They're wearing some cool clothes. I like their clothes personally. And then once you made it about, it's the whole, like redirecting that anger and then trying to say, man, this dude tried so hard to help me. No, all I did was just basically waste 15 minutes of your time of me basically putting on theatrical show and you feeling like I did something. I did absolutely nothing. If anybody, if any of the customers I ever did that to ever listen to this, they're like, man, I hate that guy so much. Um,
Yeah. See, I never had the heart. Well, I guess I never had the thinking process at the time to do that. I was just always trying to be like, I am genuinely trying to help you. I am doing the very best that I can within the little bubble that me, a retail employee has been put in, and I'm doing my best here. Like, gotta work with me here. Because
but
I mean, now,
those people really don't want to be, they really don't want to be helped. They just want to be mad.
yeah, they want to be mad. They want to take it out on the person behind the counter. But the people who like your local Walmart, the cashier behind the cash register, they are not Walmart corporate. They are not. They are just simply a cashier. That is it. The person stocking the shelves at Dollar General, they're just stacking the shelves. That is it.
How
They
could
are
you be
not
mad
Dollar
at
General.
somebody at Dollar General? I love Dollar General. I've never had
I've
an
had
issue
my
there.
I've had my life threatened when I used to work at Dollar General over rice aroni.
Are
$2
you
worth of rice
what?
aroni. Yes.
$2 worth of rice roni, and someone was ready to. What was this in the summertime? Was this the winter time?
It was about roughly uh, like late summer, early fall. So this was about roughly, gosh, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I was, I don't know, I was everything at a Dollar General.
Okay.
I don't know. I was hired for the position of like cashier, but I did everything. It was a very tiny one in the middle of nowhere, so sometimes I was the only person working there from, open to close. I did my best, but it was late at night, and a woman came in and she bought 2 boxes of rice-a-roni, and
The San
she
Francisco treat, by the way.
she went to leave. I tried to let her know that she was leaving like some of her bags. She left this bag, so that's fine. So I take it, I tie it up, I put it on the back, right? It's about roughly 10, 15, 10 minutes before we close. She calls up, she's like, hey, I left my groceries there. Can you guys stay open a little bit longer for me to get it? And I'm like, well, unfortunately, because we were a Dollar General that closed at 10,
Mm-hmm.
so I can't stay open until 10:30, 11. That's kind of dangerous. I was working by myself. I can't stay open. It was a dangerous situation. I'm like, but don't worry. Tomorrow morning you can come up and get it. It's right here on the counter. I already left a note, so that the next person who opens, because they never let you open and close. Well, you were never supposed to open and close right after each other. It's like Dollar General policy, to prevent like stealing and all that. And I
That's what
was
I was getting ready to say. You're correct.
Yeah. So I was letting her know that the person who was coming before me would definitely get it up to her. And she started yelling at me. She's like, well, I don't see what the big deal is just keeping a store open for 30 more minutes. Can't you just meet me in the parking lot? No. That's a safety issue. Not going to do it.
Are you going to pay me that $11, ma'am, for that hour?
Yeah, and I'm like, don't worry, ma'am. We're not going to put it back on the shelf, or you bought it. It's yours. It's back on the counter for you. Well, I live 35 minutes away. Okay? And can't you make the trip tomorrow morning? Well, I have work, and she rambled off all these things that she had to do, and she's like, and I'm only able to get it right now. And I'm like, well, ma'am, we are open for another like 10, 20 minutes. Like, do you have anybody who can come and get up here for you? And then, like, I was trying to be my absolute reasonable self. Um, it's just out of nowhere, she was like, well, if you're not careful, maybe I will be waiting for you out in that parking lot. And I was like, for rice-a-roni? Like,
San
ma'am.
Francisco treat, people.
I was like, did you just threaten my life? And she's
Over
like,
over $2.
yeah. She's like, it's not a threat. She's like, it could become a reality. And I'm like, well, this was what? And she's like, what you're gonna do is you're gonna stay open. I'm like, I'm not gonna stay open. And if you continue threatening me, I am gonna call the cops. This is just rice-a-roni that you left here. I'm not taking it from you. I'm not putting it back on the shelf. She's like, oh, you're gonna put it on the shelf? No, I didn't say that. I did not say that. Anyways, it kind of led to me hanging up and telling her I wasn't continuing the conversation until she calmed down. And I went back to my normal stuff after I had alerted my manager. But of course, manager at Dollar General, they didn't care. It was kind of like, I don't know, like an initiation. Ooh, your life got threatened. Welcome to Dollar General. Pop, So,
One
uh,
of us. One of us.
so it was like 5 minutes until close. This another woman comes in and she's like, "You have my friend's groceries." Uh, Talking about rice-a-roni lady, like, and she was like, "Yeah," and she's like, "And I was told that you hung up on her, and if you continue this, I am going to report you." And I'm like, "Go ahead, badges right here. All right. If you want to start anything, that's fine. Just so you know, the police station is about a minute in that direction. So they will be here very soon. Everything here is recorded, including voice. So I would just advise you at this point to take the rice-a-roni and leave. We close in about 2 minutes." And she did. She picked up the bag and she left. And I'm just sitting there going, rice-a-roni. It was $2, like $2.14 after taxes. Ridiculous. Just
Have you
ridiculous.
have you ever seen? And I love movies. I've watched every good '80s movies ever. Better Off Dead with John Cusack.
Yeah, I think I have.
Okay, and like there's a paper boy, and it's like, and he's going over the route of how many papers that he's given their family, so forth, so on. $2. Like, geez, Jimmy, I'd love to give you $2, but like my uncle was in like he had a bad reaction to acid, and then he hijacked the school bus and a whole bunch of kids and nuns, and like it's burning or something, and I gotta go. It's like, I didn't ask for your uncle's things. I asked for $2.
Yeah. Like, I don't want your life story over rice-a-roni. I am trying to be a reasonable person. be reasonable back.
That is a wonderful and great story over some right. Like you can write a book about that. I almost died over a thing of rice and roni. I got to tell Neil about that. Shout out to Neil Romariel at
Yeah. Oh,
neilromariel.com,
I
site
have
alpha.
worked. My dad was a very big firm believer in if you work a very crappy job in your youth and you appreciate a really good job when it comes your way. So my first job at the age of 15 was a Chinese fry cook. Yep, I did that for a couple years. And then let's see, I think after that it was Dollar General. I did that for a couple years. Was able to get more experience because at the time I was a little over 20. Then I worked in a really bad office job there for a while. I was the woman who called people to tell them that it was time to pay their rent. That was fun. And then I did GameStop, and now I work where I currently work. So I have a very
Well,
long list.
whoa. Let's go back to the where you call people and tell them they got to pay their rent. Like how do you start that conversation? Hi, I'm so and so from so and so. It was it. Did you say your collections agency, or did you say, hey, we noticed that your check didn't come, or you didn't make a direct deposit to us. Can you please p- pay your rent? I know you're an adult because clearly we don't rent these things to children. So can you pay your rent, please? Uh,
Let's see,
Pretty
I'll
please
leave the
with
name
the stuff
of
on
the
top.
office place out of it because my last boss is super legally touchy. So
Okay.
I would just pretty much be like, hi, this is such and such from such and such, looking through my records here, I'm not sure if it's a mistake or not, but it doesn't look like we've received your last payment. Is do you know when roughly we would be seeing that? Do I need to refresh my count a little bit? Do I need to get hold of like my boss, did you work out something with her? Because, we really don't want to have to take any actions. Don't want to. You're a really good tenant. It's not like you to be making late payments, even though everybody made late payments. I always tried to take the nice route around it, and I instead of the direct, hey, pay up. Um, I did my best because I actually tried to talk to the people a little bit before I was just like, hey, pay up. So if I like, for example, like if there's like a Mr. Jones, I'd be like, oh, hi, Mr. Jones. How are you doing today? Yeah, this is, blank with blank. How are you doing today? Oh, that's great. Well, it's the 17th, Mr. Jones. When are we going to be seeing that? Oh, okay. Well, I understand. Work is sometimes a little hard. Yeah, it's hard on all of us. Yeah, that's the reason why I work where I work. Ha 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 ha. Ha. All right. Well, I'll just make a note in your account that's saying that you're getting right to it. Thank you so much, Mr. Jones. And you have a wonderful day. That's kind of the way I would handle it.
Now, would you have to contact the same person every month, or is that just like
Oh,
a one time occurrence, or it's like, sir, I know this is the fifth month that you haven't paid.
we'll see around the third month. That's when we have to take legal action, and that's where I would stop calling, and it would have to go to my boss. In which case, my boss was already contacting her lawyer. She was already filing the eviction papers. Um, I was the one who made the first two calls.
I only tell you twice, Tony. I only tell you twice.
Yeah, now I
Scarface
had a
reference,
list
people.
of like 15 repeat offenders who would every month it take them like an additional 20 days to pay their rent. I honestly feel like a couple people on the list actually enjoyed it when I called because they would be like, "Oh, hi Ashlyn, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. How are you?" You know, yeah, I know I need to pay that. Don't worry about it. I tell you every month not to worry about it. Well, I have to make this call. This is my job. Like I tried to at least build a good relationship with the people I was calling.
I feel the same way about my parole officer. Like, hey man, how you doing? How's your wife? How's your kid? They're all right. So, how about you? Oh, I'm staying out of trouble. I'm trying not to go back. That type of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
you know,
I mean,
build
I
a good
mean, I
rapport with
tried.
that guy. You know, I want to see a movie. I'm pretty sure it exists where where a woman a woman female. I think this actually happened in real life where a woman female parole officer actually marries one of the guys that like one of her parolees. Be
Oh,
like a
I'm sure
love
that
story
happens all the time.
all the time, man.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's
Yeah, and I'm
that's
sure it
why
also goes the other way too.
yeah, it probably goes both ways. And it's like I can change him. No, you can't. No, you can't.
It was just a TV charge. It's not that bad, you know.
He only killed two people, and they were allegedly threatening him, even though they didn't have any weapons on them.
That's right. He got parole. He's good.
He's gonna
He's
change. He's gonna
good.
change.
That's it for
Now,
me. For me.
now, what animes have basically been like to me the most? I'm gonna go hop back to anime, even though we did a lot of hopping. The animes that changed my life, that shaped me as a human being, and it's very simple. Speed Racer. That was the first one I probably watched. Um, Followed by Gotcha Force, which Gotcha Force was really weird onto itself. I still have. I'm not saying nightmares, but I'm still kind of creeped out as an adult of what I saw as a kid, because of we were, spoiler alert, I was poor, so we were like still in cable because my grandfather did all this line work when he was in World War II, and I think in the Korean War when he fought in that as an army guy. But like he knew how to do all this different line stuff and all these other things, and I think he had also worked on an oil rig. I can't remember correctly. I think he did work on an oil rig for a time as well. He was like just a guy who just he was just a journeyman. Nothing wrong with that. I too am a journeyman, uh, but not as cool as my grandfather. But we were still in cable and stuff, and we would watch TBS, Cartoon Network on the USA. Cartoon Network was on no not no one Cartoon Network was the cartoon something though that had Jabberjaw, a different kind of Scooby Doo, and you're too young to remember Laugh Olympics that had all the different Hanna Barbera characters competing against each other. It was super
Oh,
cool.
are you talking like the Wacky Race?
Yes, like wacky races.
I love the Wacky Race. That was
Yeah.
great. I didn't even realize growing up that that was an older show. I honestly thought that that was a newer show. So when I would go to
No.
school and I would tell people I'm so excited for the Wacky Race, people would just look at me like, "What are you talking about?" The Wacky Race. I want to see if Penelope makes it. I'm so worried.
Penelope Pit Stop.
Exactly. But with her pink little outfit, I was obsessed with her pink little outfit with her little car. I always thought that she was Cinderella in disguise because of the little people that follow her. I just loved it.
I loved her character too. And the thing is, I never saw her cartoon, but apparently her cartoon was a early 1970s Hanna Barbera cartoon. And I guess it was fleshed out better back then than it was, later on, because they started focusing so much on. I mean, Scooby Doo was their banger, man. But before they did Scooby Doo, okay, you had Jabberjaw. Okay, you had a different variation of Scooby Doo. You had Josie and the Pussycats, which they actually made a movie out of that. I actually loved Josie and the Pussycats because that cat that cat was I think the cat's name was Sebastian. He was kind of like a jerk cat, because he was the girl that had the really dark hairs cat or whatever, and it just he seemed and there's all of them have one thing in common. They all had a Shaggy character, or basically a Shaggy drawn character, because I'm assuming they're just basing their drawings off the '60s style model of like design clothes
Yeah,
or so
to
forth.
to me, Pussy and the Josie and the Pussycats
Hmm.
was my Cheetah Girls growing up. I didn't really like the Cheetah Girls. I preferred Josie and the Pussycats. Just that was way better.
Oh well, the catch song's even better, and they even sung during the episodes like Josie and the
The
Pussycats,
Pussycats.
long hair and that's a fact. And then like it goes on to it's like big things, kind of like a little bit of scat going on, and it goes back to the whole thing of them like solving mysteries. And then there was Speed Buggy, and then the characters, and then finally they got it all together. And
You
I get
can't just run over Speed Buggy. He was awesome with his. Yeah, it was great. I always loved him in all of his personality.
but Speed Buggy and Shaggy, or the Shaggy character, were always friends. And then eventually, the guy who was, it was, I guess it was their last ditch attempt, and he had a Great Dane, and he basically put his dog in there, and that was the magic formula that made Scooby Doo happen. Scooby Doo was their last digit or last effort attempts, and it just happened to all fall together and work correctly. I actually had I remember having a Scooby Doo bowling alley party. I think maybe we got somebody to dress up as Scooby Doo, or at least we got like some thing or poster or something with Scooby Doo. But I remember we had I don't remember bowling. I just remember being at the bowling alley. And now that I look back, I'm like, I was one of the poor kids, huh? Yes, I was.
Yeah. You were not a poor kid. Your parents just had a very serious condition called poor. Like
Yes.
that's the way I say it. It was not my choice. It was their condition. I'm a survivor.
Well, here's the thing is that do you know how expensive it is to have a birthday party for your child? So let's say if you wanted to take your kids to some place like Frankie's Fun Park or Stars and Stripes or something like that, do you know it would be $30 per kid? So what are you gonna do? Like, hey, I'm gonna pay for three kids, and everybody else like, hey, if you want to come to this birthday party, here's the reason why it's very expensive, blah blah blah. And I'm thinking to myself, do I have a babysitter? Now, the thing is, though, is it worth you to pay $30 for your kid to have fun with other kids? In the long run, yes, because then you don't have to watch them for like an hour or two, and they get to be with some other kids, and they'll exhaust themselves if they're little kids. And but otherwise, it's kind of like you're gonna have to watch them anyway, and then they're gonna basically interfere on your time. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because look, I love mine to death. And tomorrow I'm going to make sure that she's away from her mother because her mother's tired. And she told me that every every time we do this day, it's almost every once a week. I take her until about 1 or 2 o'clock, and sometimes a little bit longer, to go do something, go to a museum, to go to the zoo, to do whatever, and let her.
That's really healthy for the kid too. I mean, children are always with their mothers, and sometimes it's just really good. Absence makes the heart grow fond, or
Oh well,
sometimes you just need
she's always with
a
me
break.
too, but the thing is on the weekend I always want because like my wife works very hard. She's a very smart individual. Um, I've been hitting the head a lot. I'm not that bright sometimes. I don't act right, and sometimes there's like evil Thomas, good Thomas, so Thomas, all Thomas. Um, there are many different versions of me, and then like when you have something change in your atmosphere, it makes you unhappy unto itself. Because I've had some current changes in my environment of working. When you have a new overall boss comes in, and he gives you a whole bunch of stuff that you're not usually used to doing, and that's not in your purview of your work.
Is
And
that your how dare you for this week?
oh, no, 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 I have a better one than that. But that's one of the things that's very upsetting to me is and I'm gonna go back to my child. I'm gonna circle back to her. But it's very annoying that someone would want to give you something that doesn't that's not in your job description. That everything your job title is. My job title is recycle management slash ground slash custodial supervisor. Okay, those are things I do. I'm head of recycle. So at all the different areas, I am at the head of the recycle. So you want me to do things that are outside of my purview, and within my job description of being the recycle manager. Um, and that upsets me, for the one, that you're coming into this new environment. And every time I've been in charge of any particular situation where I've managed at least about, I'd say 20 people at once, maybe 25 overall. I have never once went in there, full blown like, hey, I'm gonna do things my way. I'm the big boss, so forth and so on. I basically let things run the way they're supposed to run. I don't mess with anybody. I don't. I just talk to people, from time to time. I see how things run, and then I make assessments. I have a little notebook. I write things down. Then after I make assessments, and then I start basically taking people one by one, eventually talking to them, seeing what they can do, what they can't do, ask them, hey, do you feel comfortable doing this? You can tell me no. So then I'm not rocking the boat. If anybody tells me they can do something else or they'd like to do something else, then I would put them on a different project. But to blatantly disrespect somebody and say, "Hey, I'm going to make you do this," and you're not offering me any extra pay, okay? You're not basically you go to my boss, not and my boss is amazing. I have been fortunate enough the last 20 plus years to have amazing female bosses. I don't know what it is. All my bosses are females. So my current boss is an amazing female. She is super awesome. She does not listen to my podcast, but if she does, you are super awesome and I love you to death. And I can't ask for a better boss in the last 20 plus years that I've been working in this state. With that said, she even came to me and said, hey, so and so wants you to do these things, so forth and so on. Now, why couldn't you come to me personally, okay, personally, and just said, hey, man, we don't like that well, let me correct myself. We we would like you to do X, Y, and Z. Do you have time to do this? And your extra duties and your other duties. I would gladly say no, I don't, because I work really hard Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursdays, I I get tons of emails all day long on my work phone, all day long for people wanting me to do X, Y, Z. I say put in a work order, put in a work order, put in a work order. And so Thursday's my day to do work order stuff. I'm doing my normal stuff, my recycling and all this other stuff, and I still have my recycling stuff to do on Thursday. Friday is more of a I've worked really hard. I can kind of go and talk to everybody, do my own thing. So that's kind of cool about that. Um, and it's kind of like, I can be out there and be good to people on Friday and still get all the work done. And if there's anything that didn't get done, and then prep for Monday and have everything ready for Monday. But I just felt disrespected this week, and I guess that could be that is going to be my how dare you. So that's my how dare you without doing the how dare you. And let me go ahead and just go.
Preemptive, how dare you?
Yes, and that was my preempted how dare you, because that was really just, I don't know. I have never been more blatantly disrespected as a human being, that you couldn't come to me and just ask me these things. And so now I'm going to be also the same type of person, because I'm going to go ahead of that person and talk to HR, which I did talk to HR today about it. And HR said, "Well, talk to their, supervisor." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And so I'm going to talk to this guy. And again, it's just, if you would have came to me and asked me, I wouldn't be so mad about it. But the blatant disrespect is what makes me upset. And I'm still mad about it. I've been upset the last 3 days. Again, it's the whole changing of something, but you don't tell. In other words, you're not going to tell me myself, and then you mad because you come into my well, not him, but someone was mad because they came into my office, and I had things in my office, um, because there was a certain, well, let's just say I have an old flag back when I used to stand for certain rights that are now legal in my office. I'll leave it at that. So, but how dare you, sir, disrespect me? How dare you treat me a certain way that I did not want to be treated? And I hope to have this remedied by next week, so that way people won't hear me on here griping about something that is irrelevant to them. So
If
to everyone who listens, I am sorry.
we're just, if this is a continual problem, we're just gonna have to make it like a segment and be like, and today with the disrespect, then I'm gonna loop back to your to the original tangent
Okay.
of animes that shaped us. I would have to say that my first, it wasn't like I was just randomly doing something and I come across anime. I actually owe it to my third eldest sister, the one before me, because I honestly think she just wanted a buddy. Because she just comes in one day and she's like, "Hey, are you bored? Yeah. Do you want to watch a show with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." And so she takes me in, and that's when I saw my first anime, or on Host Club. Just just out of nowhere, or on Host Club, because we watched a lot of shows together. We watched like Kyle XY. Like she was always showing me these different interesting bits of entertainment. And I would honestly say, now I know Oron Host Club is not top tier story wise or anything like that, although the manga is pretty awesome. But I would say that was a good starting point for me, because I watched those 24 episodes, or was it 12? No, it was 12 episodes, and I wanted more. And I that led to me going on and discovering what manga was, and then completely reading all of it, learning how to do the right to left, learning how to do the bubbles. I mean, I had to teach myself how to read completely different so I could find out what happened to Takamisu. Like I had to know.
So you're
And
not
then
dyslexic, because I actually do read from right to left, which is you start from the back and then work your way to the front.
yeah, and I've been doing it so much that honestly, just by the art alone, I know to go either this way or this way. I mean, I've been doing it for so long, but that was something I had to teach myself. And I remember just looking at my sister and being like, telling me what to do next. And she's like, no, if you want to read the story, you got to figure it out. And I'd have to be like, okay, oh, this is the way it goes, because for all of you who don't know the difference between manga and English writing, English writing is left to right, starting at the top box going down. Manga is right to left, and it's not necessarily the box going down. It's sometimes if there is a speech bubble that overlaps with another certain panel, then you would go to that panel, and sometimes you need to jump back up and over. So it's very directional with its speech. And so you kind of have to play this little game of, I don't know, hopscotch with it, which I think adds to it. I think it really adds to the story. And the art for the manga was so great. So now I do this thing even now, a good 11 years later, where if I see a series and it's really, really super good, I have to find the manga. I have to read it. I have to consume as much of the story as possible. And then from that, I remember there was a show called Erlin Fairy. Did you ever see the anime Erlin Fairy?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, really, really good. I loved the entire, just all of it. And there is not a manga for that. And I was like, oh no. And then that's when my sister was like, have you ever heard of light novels? And that's how a light novel.
No, I never heard of that.
Ah, so now I gotta share this. So a light novel, probably I've pointed out these books before, but I have like this series of black books behind me that are Overlord, like right here. So this entire
Okay.
second shelf, it's nothing but black. So light novels is pretty much what they call the Japanese novels, and it's really hard to get those translated. So back when these weren't very accessible, what you'd have to do is you'd have to pirate the Japanese one and then run it through Google Translator and just have to read it like a page at a time, running it through. And that's what I had to do to finish the Erlin Fairy story. So I'm not sure if it's like 100% correct, but that's what we used to have to do. Um,
Do you
and so
remember
for
BitTorrent? Do you remember BitTorrent?
no, I didn't use anything that my sister didn't really approve of, because she was really big on me not putting viruses or anything in her computer.
Because we used to download all these different, like, as soon as the newest one got up. This is over in Japan, okay? So as soon as someone bought the newest one over in Japan, like an army guy, whoever that was over there, they would post it, and someone would translate it, and then you would download the bit turn of it, and there'd be all these different sites. So as soon as like they released a new chapter for Naruto, every, like, I don't know if it was once a month or twice a month, but every time, man, I'd run to my computer. I'd tell my wife not to bother me, because this is back when dial-up was still a thing. And so I said, "You can't bother me. Don't get on the phone. Don't do anything. I got to get this new episode of Naruto." She's like, "What's the big?" Because there was no anime over. I mean, the anime was over here, but it was in like English, and the English is horrible. Never watched Naruto in English, people. Only in Japanese with English subtitles. So good. At least it was for me. And I would get so excited, and like, about, like, them, like, the you remember the pain arc, right? Or have you not watched Naruto, or what, or read the manga?
I have.
I would get so excited, man, especially with the pain arc and everything that took place during that time. before the Great Ninja Wars, and how basically Pain is Naruto, but he's a because remember Naruto is named after Nagant or yes, it's Nagant, right? Which is Pain.
Nagato.
No, but the character in Jiraiya's
You're talking about his
novel.
three students, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about his students. Pain was one of his students, which is Nagage.
Oh, you're
Um,
talking about where Naruto got his name from the
yes,
Jiraiya's first novel.
which
Okay.
is from his student that died that ended up being Pain. So, and that basically Pain is Naruto, but he's taken a different path from his ninja way, and basically Naruto's father, which is the fourth Hokage, was it Maito?
Can I tell?
Um, I can't think of Naruto's father's name, but the fourth Hokage. Um, he loved that character so much from Jiraiya's book. That's how Naruto got his name. And I thought that whole arc, that whole section of the manga, and even when they actually did the I mean, it was super drug out in the actual anime, and it was super awesome too. But it was just so well done. I mean, I'm out on like 7 versions of Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. I have the Xbox version, which is right where is it? Right here. If I get up, I have the PS3 version. I also have the remastered, the redone versions for the PS4, and I also have them for the Xbox, and I also have them for my Nintendo Switch. That's how much I love that story of, and how much I thought of Naruto onto itself. And when you were talking about that, I just couldn't help but bring that up about Naruto and how like BitTorrents, because I apparently I guess you didn't download any manga that way.
No, my dad had a very strict rule about us downloading anything on computers, mainly because my dad he had a lot of really important files on his computer, and he didn't want
Classified stuff
any.
like don't touch this.
Yeah, don't touch it. I mean, I remember this actually reminds me of a really funny story. And if you've been listening to the last 3 podcasts, you know I have some funny family stories here. So my sister and I we wanted to play Sims, and at the time it was Sims 2, I believe. We wanted to play it. Didn't have the computer to play it. Only computer available was Dad's. But if we download Sims 2 on Dad's computer, Dad's going to get upset. So we decided to rename the file to something else. Or we got away with it for probably a couple weeks. And then out of nowhere, and I did not realize why my dad was so upset until a couple years later. But we come in, I guess my dad hadn't even opened up the file, but he had found the rename file. And he was upset. And he was like, what is this? Who's hiding stuff on my computer? What is in this file? And I remember sitting there like, why is it a big deal? Like, why? You know, I mean, like, I know that Sims was like it's Sims, but I guess my dad never opened it. And so I guess my dad thought that we were hiding inappropriate content on his computer. And it didn't dawn on me about what that inappropriate content my dad thought was being hidden on his computer until like 2 3 years later when I was retelling this story, and someone was like, oh yeah, I can see why your dad was upset. Can't say exactly what it is because this is a friendly
Okay,
family.
okay.
I'll give you a hint. It starts with a P, rhymes with.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
got you.
There you
Yeah.
go. And I remember my sister though. My sister, she's about 3 4 years older than me, and she just kind of looked at my dad, and because my sister, she was always the one that handled these types of situations. Because even now, when my parents are upset with something, I'm not a quick thinker of like, because I'm just sitting there like, what's wrong? Like, I don't get it. It's my sister that's like, Dad, did you open it? It's not what you think. Just open it. And he opens it up, and Sims 2 starts playing. And then he's like so relieved, and he's like, okay, get out. And then he like deletes it and all that because Sims 2 took up like a lot of storage, and my dad had a lot of really important stuff, homework, um, just all sorts of stuff on this computer. So he only looked at it because his computer was slowing down because of Sims 2. But it didn't even dawn on me what my dad thought was in that file until a couple of years later.
No, did y'all not know how to file back then? By I forgot how was it? It's control something that where you can actually take the file and you can ghost that file, what doesn't show up where the file is actually invisible.
No, no, you're talking about a like a 14-year-old and like a 17-year-old.
I
We
got you.
didn't
I got
know.
you.
We
I
didn't
got
know.
you.
Now,
I
I
got you.
mean, now I'm pretty sure my sister could do that. I am not computer savvy, as you know, at all. I am savvy with game consoles, but not with laptops, computers, desktops. Forget it.
I would like to what I call what you would call a novelist. I built maybe one computer in my lifetime, and I've taken a lot of them apart. I've fixed one or two, but it's time consuming, and I don't. If I'm not getting paid to do it, and I'm just doing it for a hobby, it's one thing. But now that I have something that consumes every minute of my life, that's currently sleeping, um, in the room beside me, I don't have time to do those amazing things anymore, and it's very sad. And the thing is, I'm gonna say this to anybody out here: don't ever get old. Don't ever be old like me, because you forget all these cool things you know how to do. I used to know how to like hack into all these different things. I was a super good hacker. I could do all these really cool things. Now, I don't know how to do none of that stuff. I have to look things up. I used to be able to like mod any type of game system you wanted. I could find anything online to download stuff like that. Now I have to go to YouTube and watch tutorials. Hi, would you like to learn how to mod an Xbox? Yes, I would. Have
Yeah,
you ever did
see,
this before? Yes, I have. Do you remember how to do it? No, I don't.
yeah, well, thankfully now this sister works in IT and she's married to somebody who works in another form of IT. So if I have a computer or even my phone, I just shut it and I just bring it to them and I'm like, hey, this is your job. Here you go.
And it's like, hey, it's going to cost you a breakfast.
Yeah, I always do Starbucks. I do the DoorDash donuts to her house before I get there, and I'm like, while I'm here, um, this is not working. I don't know what's wrong with this, and it always goes into a 20-25 minute labor. She's like lecture. She's sitting there over my computer, like, I don't know why this is 2023. I don't know why you don't know what you're doing. What is up with your cache? Why is it so full? Do you not know how to properly delete it? You know, she's like, I'm like, I love you, sister. You're the best, sister.
Do you not know how to get rid of your caches?
I have been yelled and told several times, but honestly, I just would rather take 20-minute lecture and move on with my life. And I can
Yeah.
say that because she doesn't listen to my podcast, so she'll never know.
Well, I could tell you this: always have at least three computers. You want one for play, mean like for games, whatever
Yeah.
type of stuff. You want one to surf the internet because look, you can get all types of things. You just click on X, Y, and Z, and then one for business. Never put all three of those together because people could get valuable information, and then always have everything crypted, regardless of
Yeah.
what you think.
You see,
Crypt
my
everything, people.
sister, she did all of that. In fact, I was really proud of myself by the fact that, and this is how unsavvy I am with computers. I was proud of myself because I discovered what a hard drive was about a couple weeks ago because my Sims was loading really slow on my computer, and I'm like, oh, if only I had the space. So then I Google what gives me space on computer. Hard drive, hard drive. So I contact my sister. And I'm like, sister, I'm going to expand my hard drive. And she's like, what are you talking about? So then I get it and I call her and I'm like, I can play Sims now and it's all on my hard drive. And she's like, really? You just now found out about that? Yeah.
Now, did you do an external or internal hard drive? That would be a external, not an
Yeah,
internal.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure. It lights up when it's on. I think it's kind of cool.
I don't like the ones that light up when they're on because sometimes those are kind of faulty. Is it a green light?
It's an orange one.
Okay,
It's a Seagate one. I like it because it makes me feel very tech savvy every time it blinks or it turns on or
I just don't like the ones that blink because thing is, if like let's say that light ever dies, that LED light dies, then you're going to think something's wrong with it going forward,
see
and so
that's assuming if I pay attention enough to it. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to look at it one day and be like, didn't it blink? Well, I'm able to play my game. I'm good.
I have a 2 terabyte external hard drive to my Xbox, and that sucker always like Like I always have to replug it back in, and it's an Xbox One, and it's from Seagate. And let me just say, Seagate gives me more problems than any other one when it comes to these. And if you're listening, you can reach out to me anytime you want to at hunterhouston13 at yahoo.com. Seagate, because I've had so many problems with your different hard drives. I got 7 different 1 terabyte and a couple of 4 terabyte hard drives that I had to extract stuff from because I've had issues over the years with you guys. Now, when it comes to Western Digital, I've had a Western Digital eight terabyte hard drive that I've had no problems with, that I've had for 6 years now. That is super awesome and is a part of my PlayStation 4 family. And then I have another one that I just recently bought from a pawn shop. Got a great deal at it, man. I think I only paid $30, and I thought it was a 4 terabyte hard drive. I was like, okay, I got 4 terabytes for $30 from a pawn shop. I'm good to go. And I didn't even know if it was going to work or not. It was just I just gambled. 8 terabytes. I formatted it myself. I checked it. All this other stuff. And now it's my PS5 8 terabyte hard drive, which well, for PlayStation 4 games, people. I don't put anything else on it. Because I already have 2 terabytes from the actual, what is it, the SSD drive, hard drive. SSD drives are the really really small micro ones. In case you're not familiar with those, they're like they're big as a pin. They're not very big at all. Um, Sorry, I'm doing a bunch of computer jargon, and you're like probably like what?
No, what's currently going through my head is Ponyo, 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 fish in the sea. How many little fishy can there really be? You lost me after Seagate.
No, it's just like there's never enough memory for these new systems, and that gets me so upset. Is that okay? Do you have a PS5 yet?
Yes.
Okay, you can literally put like 5 games on it, if that, with their crappy 600 gigs that they give you. I don't know if they give you 600 gigs anymore, even though they give you a terabyte. Then you have the option to pay $200 for like 1 terabyte, or an option to pay 400. It's no longer 400. I think it's like 235 to 300 for 2 terabytes. Now they're finally releasing the 4 terabytes, but that's like $800, man. I can't give you $800 for 4 terabytes and then take out my 2 terabyte, but I can't. In other words, I can't justify asking my wife for money. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, my wife controls the purse strings because that's just how it is. I work, she collects the money, and then I ask for the money back eventually. She's like a bank. So, but I can't justify going to her and say, "Hey, I would like $800 for 2 more terabytes worth of memory," because Sony sucks and they won't make something good, affordable, and cheap. And she's going to say, "Don't you already have two?" I'll say yes, and then
You'd
she'll
be
say,
like Bernie Sanders with your lawn chair. I am now asking you for
"Yes,
financial assistance.
yes, I am now asking her for I am once again asking you to support my
Yeah.
habits."
I feel
Um,
like that too when I go to my husband because I make barely anything. Honestly, what I make is just my play money, and it's like, hey, husband, I am currently asking you for your financial support in my endeavors.
well, I actually asked her today for some. So I got so Best Buy is doing their Prime sales, right? And this is an early Prime sale, and you know what the Eros Pro is, right? Okay. Um, so it's like a Wi-Fi setup because I have Google's Wi-Fi setup currently. Okay, I'm running upstairs probably around 200 megabytes per second. Now with the Eros, I'm saying it wrong. It's ERRO. So is it Eero or I may be pronouncing it incorrectly. But long story short, it's Amazon's Wi-Fi setup, and it runs at 800 megabytes per second. So if I can get my upstairs up to about 500 megabytes or even 600 megabytes per second, I'll be super stoked because that way I'll have better connection when I'm doing this, and you'll hear me better, and then I won't have to worry about connection issues, and maybe I can have other things going on. And then my wife here can watch her shows because I'm sure she's watching her Netflix or her stories because it's that time. Um, but still, it's one of those things where it's like it costs now. How much do you think to set up? It's just three different more or less Wi-Fi hubs. Okay, how much do you think that costs? Just
Uh,
take a guess.
I'm gonna say about 250.
Close, but no tomato or potato.
No
Um,
tomato.
no tomato, no potato. I always say patata, potato, tomato,
I,
tomato.
I always thought that the saying was close but no cigar.
That is correct, but sometimes I like to be different, just to be different. I'm that kind of person. Um, but no. So it's normally $500. Okay, and I got it today for like 160 something. It was like 159.90 or 149.99, but with tax, it was like 170. And so I told her, I said, "Hey, can I get this?" And she's like, "Well, can you wait because we got to pay all this other stuff?" And I'm like, "Well, can I put it on like my Best Buy card?" She said, "Okay." So I went ahead and put it on my Best. And no, I don't need it. Other than I just want a better connection upstairs for my Wi-Fi and everything. And she's saying, "Well, what there's a better deal during the start of Prime?" And I said, "Well, this is a Prime before, so what is cheaper?" So if it's cheaper, I'll just take it back to them. They give you like a month to return stuff. I'll just return it and buy the other one, and I'll just use the credit. But no, it should come tomorrow or the next day, so I'm really excited about it. And I hate that. Look, I'm glad I didn't have to pay the $500 for it, but I feel like I got it still getting it at 170 when it costs that much money. And watch, as soon as they sell this one, they'll come out with one that's even better that lets you do like a terabyte
Yeah,
per
you see,
second.
but when I hear a product is originally $500 and they're selling it for 170, for me that says it failed.
No, I have been wanting this for a while. This is something I've been wanting for a while, and I was actually going to ask for the $500 to actually get it when we had finally got our taxes back. I was thinking of pulling money out of my Bitcoin in order to go and get it. But I don't want to
Well, I
touch
hope
that
it works
money.
for you then. Like I hope so, but I don't have
Well,
to
well,
worry about all that because I have fiber optic.
yes, you have fiber optic, and you don't have to worry about that.
I
But
know.
I
You see
don't
how
have that.
clear, how smooth my video is? It's great.
Yeah, yeah. But
Fiber optic.
I'm going to be so happy with this thing, and I hope it will run smoothly. And then I'll take the Google ones and then sell those for probably like $50 to 100 because I have four of theirs throughout the house just to have better range. I have one in my girls' room, one in Bethany's room, one in my room, one downstairs. Actually, I have five. I stand corrected. I have one downstairs, and then I have another one downstairs in her office because she's fortunate enough to have an office here at the house that she works from time to time. So there you go. That's how important she is. She has
Don't you think it's very interesting that there's a lot of companies now that are doing their own internet service, cell phone service? It's kind of interesting. Like I heard the other day that even T-Mobile is doing their own Wi-Fi service, and so
now,
is Sprint.
but isn't T-Mobile actually owned by AT&T?
I think so.
Okay,
And
and
I
you
know
do.
AT&T does have their own internet service provider, but I kind of feel like with Google and their what is the name of their phone company that they're trying to do right now?
It's just Google.
No, I meant like there's a name for it, like
Pixel.
Lo-Fi.
Pixel. No, it's Pixel.
It's
It's
Pixel. Oh, well,
Pixie.
who is it?
It's either Pixie or Pixel.
No, that's the brands of phone that they're trying to make. I'm talking about like the specific name for their company. I can't remember if it's like Lo-Fi, Go-Fi. It's like because I remember looking at it at one point and realizing that it's the exact same thing that Boost Mobile tried to do a while back. Do you remember that Boost
I
Mobile?
do. Now Ryan Reynolds actually had some phones and a carrier, and he actually sold it for like $1 billion. I
Oh
think. I
yeah,
think to
Mint.
AT and T. Yeah, he
But
had
see,
Mint
he
Mobile.
was
Yeah.
really smart about it. I mean, even he was very clear with the fact that this is low budget. These are low budget commercials, underfunded. But I'm just gonna put me the the rock the star in it, and I mean, it just kind of took off from there. I mean, it was pretty good. I love seeing actors do that type of stuff, like the Shack. how Shaq also invested into all these different businesses, and then he turns around and he sells them. Like, it's really cool to see people who have money that actually do smart things with it.
Well, Shaq actually had gotten some very good advice. There's tons of videos you can watch of Shaq talking about all the different business advice he got. And he was like in LA at the time when he used to play for the Lakers. And some business guy he was having like dinner with or doing something with, and he said, "Shaq, you're rich, but I'm whatever it is, like I'm something or another." And then he explains to Shaq, and then Shaq basically was listening. There's a difference between having dinner with somebody who you may think is arrogant or whatever, but if someone has more money than you and they're trying to give you some advice, you don't have to take it all like, "Hey, I have to do this," but try to. It's like with Mr. Schlesinger told me, he said, "Hey, always act like even if you may have something, which I don't, but if you do, always act like you don't, and so that way people won't be mad." And all this advice Shaq was getting, and then Shaq made a lot of different investments, so it actually helped him. And then, did you hear his story about when he was going to LSU?
No, I just think it's really cool the stuff that he invests in, and the fact that he partnered up with Walmart um, for shoes for boys,
Mm-hmm.
and they're actually really nice shoes. I know that my husband had one time told me growing up, especially in because he also was raised in a lower income poor
Mm-hmm.
family. Shoes for boys apparently is the equivalent of like hair for girls. If it's not, if it doesn't look good, it's you get teased for it. And so it's really nice that Shaq has made these shoes that look almost like Air Jordans, almost like the Hibbett sports quality shoes, but affordable at Walmart for kids to get of a lower income bracket. There's videos done all the time for Shaq when he goes to Walmart. He actually finds a group of kids with their parents, and he buys them whatever they want in the store every time he goes. And but one of the things that really
I actually
impressed
did a
me,
video on that
yeah,
on the earlier in the podcast on one of our early episodes about like how when people see Shaq at Walmart and they're like, they're Shaq," and then Shaq's going to pay for stuff because because sometimes he pays for everybody's stuff in the store, right?
yeah,
And so and it's like and Shaq looking over at the person, it's like, "I know you don't eat those Funyuns. Why are you getting those Funyuns?" But Shaq is disappointed with you because you wanted those Funyuns. And it's just like, because if people see him walk in the store, they're just going to grab some random crap. And it's just like, Shaq knows you don't like Funyuns.
yeah. Well, one of the things that really impressed me a lot is because I think in this video he found like three boys that were together, probably around the ages of like 7 to 12, and they wanted bikes. They were looking at the bikes, and he was going to get them the bikes, but before he mentioned getting the bikes, he's like, "You need to go and get your parents. You need to go ask them if it's okay." And they did. They went and they got the parents. The parents were before him, and he's like, "Hey, I want to buy your kids these bikes, but I want to make sure it's okay first. I don't know if you know who I am. I'm Shaq. I always try to do something nice every time I'm at Walmart for people."
Who doesn't
And
know who Shaq
these,
is?
huh? Yeah.
Who
Oh, I
doesn't know
mean,
who Shaq is?
yeah, but just the fact that he was still willing to ask a random parent, "Hey, can I do this nice thing for your kid?" Like to me, I really do love a celebrity that isn't like, "Oh, you know who I am. I'm better than this." It's for me, it gives me a little bit of faith in humanity when you see stuff like, "Hey, go get your parents. Let me show respect to your parents," instead of just being like, "Well, I'm super rich. I can do whatever I want." It's nice. It's nice to still see that.
And this is the reason why his brand and his stock is up, and this is why he owns so many different things. Uh, um, him and Magic Johnson both. Now, Magic Johnson owns a ton of theaters, and he also owns a ton of banks. By the way, uh, if you're familiar with the General's car insurance, Shaq is I think a 50-50 owner, or he owns a little bit more than that. That's
Did he
because when
do
he was
commercials for that for years?
yes, and
When they had the terrible CGI, it was
yes, and,
great.
and and he did that stuff for free because he wanted to basically rather than take money for it, he wanted stock, and unbelievably a smart guy. He actually owns Papa John's, and anytime you buy Marilyn Monroe or you buy Elvis stuff, all that stuff goes to Shaq. Shaq owns the names and the rights to Marilyn Monroe. All these most of these dead celebrities are all owned by Shaq. So anytime you buy a poster of any dead celebrity, you're giving Uncle Shaq some money. Uncle
Yeah,
Shaq thanks
but
you.
see, that's just wise investment. I mean, that's
Absolutely, smart guy.
yeah. He didn't just take his money from basketball and do whatever he wanted with it. He actually did something smart with it, which is nice.
Now, are you familiar with Antonio Brown?
Antonio Brown. The name sounds familiar,
Oh
but
no,
I
no,
can't.
I will stand correctly. Ant- Antonio Walker. I'm sorry, Antonio Walker.
Not Walker.
Okay,
Brown sounds familiar, not Walker.
Walker basically had made over $120+ million within his career of playing professional NBA basketball. Now, when he basically made a lot of bad moves, and I don't know if he's still currently living with his mother in his mother's house. But long story short, he was living with his mother's and his lover's mother's house and was dead broke.
Oh,
Uh,
see,
so
my husband is really the one to have all of these conversations with about NBA. Everything I know NBA wise has come from directly this man. I have just been on the couch cheering for I don't know the Bucks for like the last couple of years.
you're chilling for Augustus. Was it Augustus Agandis? I'm always saying his name wrong. He's from I believe he's from Italy. No, he's from Greek. I'm sorry, he's from Greek.
I don't know. Once again,
Greece. I always
this
say
is a
Greek, but Greece.
conversation for my husband. He is the NBA super fan. I just sit there on the couch, with like the beer cozies and making like the cheese dip and just being a supportive wife as much as possible. Even though I don't understand why this game is popular, I don't understand why he likes it. But you know what? It makes him happy, and so sure, we'll watch the finals. We'll watch them beat each other 4 times in different places. Okay, sure, why not? All right.
Now I have a question for you. What is your how dare you for this episode?
Ooh, my how dare you for this episode. You know what? How dare you Gmail? That's I am a very avid um going through my email and cleaning it out and labeling and organizing. I try to keep what I the little bit of tech savvy that I do know, I try to keep organized that way it's better for me to understand it. And sometimes with those promotional emails that I get, I have to click on it twice for the little trash can icon to appear. And I know it's being done on purpose. That way I can see the ad more than once, but I don't care. I'm just trying to get rid of the clutter and I'm trying to hurry up and do it fast. How dare you, Gmail, for making me open up a random ad twice just to get rid of it? How dare you? I don't want to buy Sheen.
What's she?
Sheen.
Sheen. What's
Sheen.
Sheen?
Sheen is a fashion line almost. They have an app. They have a store.
Oh, okay.
I
When you
every
said Sheen, I thought of Charlie Sheen, Martin
it's
Sheen.
it's the same spelling of Sheen. Same,
Okay.
yes. It's usually a black box with like a white S in it, and they're really big. And they've had like a lot of lawsuits over their fast fashion because they pump out a whole bunch of clothes that are in like right now, and they usually end up in a landfill somewhere because what is popular 1 second isn't popular the next. Like they're really terrible with this.
So they're hot topic of the fashion world.
At least with Hot Topic, the sizing is the same because I did get a couple things from Sheen,
Run
and
down,
and
down
at
the
the
hot
time,
topic.
I
Yeah.
was much larger. I used to be about almost 300 pounds, about roughly a year ago. Thankfully, I've lost well over 90 pounds. But
Go
it,
ahead.
huh?
I'm going USA, USA,
Yeah.
USA,
Um,
USA.
but it was really hard to find clothing at the time that fit me because I think I was about roughly a size 18. And even then, through this weight loss journey I've had, just because something says it's like a size 14 in one brand, is usually like a size 12 and like another, like a size 10 or even a size 16 somewhere. But with Shein, for some reason, their skirts will be size 10. You can get a pair of pants that are size 10 and a dress that's a size 10. And one is bigger than the other, one is smaller than the other. And there's just no way to navigate the clothing and truly know what you're getting. It's you have to wait 2-3 weeks for it to show up at your doorstep. And then when you open the box, you're like, ooh, this fits. This doesn't fit. This will never fit. And the return policy is just terrible because then you have to put it back in the bag because you have to
Are
try it
they
on
from
to know.
China?
Yeah, yeah, they're from China. It takes
Oh,
forever.
I have a good story about this. When you're done, go.
Yeah,
Please continue.
it takes forever to get a return on it. Then they get super picky if you've worn it, and it's like, well, obviously, it had to be on my body for me to wear it. I had to know if it didn't fit. It's not like I can just pick it up and be like, yeah, that looks a little tight. Because if I could do that, I wouldn't be buying it from you. Um, Thankfully, though, with all the weight that I've lost, a lot of clothes now fit me in my closet. I don't think I've had to go clothing shopping in like probably 2 years because I'm just slowly going through all the stuff that I used to wear, which is kind of nice. It's so nice to be able to put on a dress that was too small for me a year ago and it's now too big. It's a wonderful feeling. It really is.
I'm just
Um,
wearing my pregnant clothes when I was pregnant. So I'm just wearing those clothes. They fit me perfect now. I grown into them.
yeah, you laugh about that, but any woman that's ever had a kid, that's a real thing. My child is 4.5 years old. He starts kindergarten next fall, and I still have a not a pre a maternity shirt, and also a breastfeeding sleepwear that I still wear because it's super comfortable. And I don't know, it like those breastfeeding clothes, they have like a snap in built-in bra. And I mean the support it gives you is just phenomenal because we because I do know a good majority of women listen to this. You know exactly what I'm talking about when you have on like a tank top and you roll over and sometimes your friends will fall out or not position themselves correctly. So a breastfeeding shirt with that built-in bra keeps them in one place. And it's also breezy enough where you don't sweat. I still wear it. I'm never gonna give it up. It is fantastic. I don't care if you start in kindergarten here soon. I'm still gonna wear it until I it has holes.
It's very comfortable.
Oh yeah, comfort. If I knew in my teenage years that there was already clothing that was comfortable like that, I would have been wearing breastfeeding clothes when I was a teenager. I mean, it
Your
solves
dad be
so
like,
many
"Are you trying to
issues.
drop hints?"
Oh, my dad would have killed me. I mean, I joke about it, but if I was getting stuff like that, oh, I wouldn't be here today.
But no, the story. I've lost my train of thought because that was so freaking funny. Um,
You were talking about China.
oh yeah, China. So I have this friend, and she, like you, I don't know if she's ordered from Sheen or not. And shout out to Carlito Estevez and Martin Estevez, which are their given names, and they changed those in America to Charlie Sheen and Martin Sheen. The only
Oh,
one
that's
who
funny.
kept his name was Emilio Estevez. A lot of people don't know that. Um, but yes, Carlito is Charlie in Spanish, and then of course his last name is Estevez. But me go back to my original story. I just wanted to give that little reference there because you talked about names and whatnot. Um, it's the Sheen name, and I always like to give out celebrity stuff,
Yeah, I
tidbits, and
mean, it's one of
useless
those.
information.
It looks really good on the size zero model,
Hmm.
but then they have this separate section for plus women.
Well, my friend who ordered that stuff from where you ordered it from too, if I'm correct,
Yeah.
she had the problem sending stuff back to China, so she asked for a refund. Now, I talked to this young lady numerous times, and she literally, I go to visit her. She is on the phone with them for like, I visited her like 4 or 5 times within a week. Okay. Every time that I had visited her, she was on the phone with them. Finally, she told her bank that they had, defrauded her or something or another. So she got back her $20. And I'm like, so you wasted 4 to 5 hours of your own personal time, if not more, talking to these people, trying to get back $20. And she said, look, it's the principle. I'm like, I would have just let that $20 go. She said, it's not about the $20, it's about the principle of the matter. I'm like, well, you're a
It
better person than
really
me. I couldn't have did
is.
that.
Clothing companies, especially the ones that send you packaging, um, they are shady. Like I had this one clothing subscription a while ago, and I think it was Nadine West. Came in a pink box. It was really great. The really good clothes and stuff. But there was a period of time. It was when I decided that I was going to take my weight loss journey. That I was done. Like I need to change something about
Okay.
myself and getting cute clothes for that current size. It was not like I needed to do something about it. So I canceled it with them. I told them I did not need their services anymore. I thanked them. We're done. 9 months later, they reactivated my account without asking me and was telling me that I had requested a renewal, like a delayed renewal. And I'm like, I did not. I have the emails. I asked for a cancellation. You renewed it and took 70 some dollars out of my account. I want it back. This is not okay. I have not received anything. Well, we sent you something in the mail. No, I canceled my subscription. I did not suspend it. I did not ask for a delay start. Who asked for a delay start on a subscription, by the way? Has anybody ever been like, hey, I want to kind of cancel it, but here in a couple months, I want to reactivate it without anybody calling?
Well, hold up now. Technically, when women like to go on breaks with guys, they're like, I want to see how things work out with Todd. And if they don't work out with him, I'm hoping you're still going to be there waiting for me.
We're not talking about human beings here. We're talking about
We're talking about
subscriptions.
clothes.
We're talking about no. We're just talking about subscriptions. Like you don't have a People magazine subscription and then be like, "Wow, this is trash." Okay, I'm gonna cancel this, but I really hope they send me something here in 6 months. You don't do that when you say, "I want to cancel my subscription," and you like, "Hey, I'm gonna cancel my subscription." Yeah, okay, I'll answer the questionnaire and let you know why I'm leaving. But in no way, shape, and form did I say, here in 9 months, I would like it to be renewed and for you to take $70 out of my bank account.
I had the
And
same thing happen with the PlayStation card. Have you ever had the PlayStation Visa card?
no.
Okay, so I had canceled my PlayStation Visa card, and then 6 months or so down the road, they sent me a new one. And I called him up. I said, "Hey, you just sent me a new card. I had canceled my card because I paid off my debt. Because every now and then, look, I'm guilty of this. I don't know if you're guilty of this. You're probably not. You're probably more responsible than me. But basically, I'd take out a new card that had interest free, and then I would pay off another credit card, and then I went to pay no interest, and I just pay them back with no interest. And then once I was done, then I just canceled the card because it was just used to pay off the interest on another card, and I was using it for interest free. And it was like, well, you did such a good job of paying us on time and all these other things, and we just thought you wanted another card. I'm like, well, couldn't you reached out to me and asked me
Oh,
if I want another card? Nah, no.
yeah. Yeah, that's not okay. I don't know why. Like, do companies get away with this, where they're just allowed to restart things when you say no? I mean, it's not fair. I wonder how many times they've done it. Like
Oof.
honestly, after I got done with the customer service and I left a really bad review because I'm gonna leave a really bad review. It now not Karen level bad review, mind you. I did not leave a Karen level bad review. I just left a sensible. It was a really good company, really good clothes. Took $70 9 months later. Not happy about that type of review. Um, it's about a paragraph long, but I assure you, it's not Karen like deserved. Not Karen. Anyways, I wonder how many times they've gotten away with this.
Numerous times, because I
Yeah.
guarantee you a lot of people are like me, where it's like, I don't want the hassle, I'll just take the $20 loss and never deal with you again. Where if you're some people like my friend who's like, I'm going to spend 4 or 5 hours a day until you give me back my 20 freaking dollars. um and it's kind of funny that you just say, the way they treat you, because you expect better from people. And like, I have only written one bad review on Google. I've written a lot of good reviews, like, and I think good reviews are important. But there's a place where I currently live, and there's like a baseball field, and in that baseball field going down the street where the dump is, um, there's a playground there, and the playground's all rusty and nasty. And of course, I have a young child, and so I wrote a very bad review saying, not only about the playground. I said, but I did highlight all the good things about the actual baseball fields being well manicured, well taken care of, great staff. But all their playground stuff was probably like about maybe 20 or 30 years old. It was all rusty and nasty. And I'm thinking to myself, what if a kid gets hurt here? That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. And so I've gotten so many positive people sending me, you know, like thank yous and stuff like that for my review, and that's one of the most. I've reviewed a lot of things. I like reviewing stuff, but that's one of the most positive reviews and one of the best reviews. And it was in other words, it was a negative review, but it was a positive reinforcement review where I said everything good about the place and how much the place does all these things correctly, but I also pointed out the ugly eyesore of their playground and how it could be fixed. And I wish people would donate money to fix it. Now, I have yet to be back there. I hope that someone donated a new playground there so my child can go back there, because I liked going there because it was super awesome. I got to see everybody, you know, and like they even had tennis courts up in the front. Uh, but it was super cool. And all the love I got for that bad, and I consider it a bad review because again, I said a lot of good things about everything else except for the playgrounds, and I said this is a travesty to the children, because what if one of them, you know, because what you have to get a tetanus shot if you like get something stuck on you and rust, right?
Well,
Yeah.
you get a tetanus shot when you get cut or a puncture with any type of metal. It doesn't have to be rusty. It can be any type of metal.
Oh, well, then I probably need a tetanus shot because I've been
Yeah,
punctured with a
you're
little bit of
actually
metal.
supposed to get one on a regular, like every couple of years.
I had one about 3 years ago when I was doing something for work, and there was something rusty that cut me pretty deep, and I went over to the nurse, and they gave me a tetanus shot. So I yeah, probably about
Yeah.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but like the customer service, like I'm all for kind customer service. I just hate the customer service where you say no 100 times and it's like they don't hear you. I hate that type of
Okay.
customer
Okay.
service.
So do you ever get, like, you know, you get the spam phone call, and it's like, hey, da 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 da, you know, home security, or can we speak to it's like they say your name or whatever, and it's like, are you the homeowner? I said, I always people always say this, say no, I rent, and then it's like click. I always say I rent, or I say like I used to be really funny and creative. I'm like, hey, I don't know who this is, man. I just stole this phone, and I'm currently like robbing these people. And it's like, sir, please give the phone back to the owner. And I'm like, no, dude, I can't do that. So, sir, I'm going to call the police. I'm like, go ahead, call them, dude. I dare you. I'm like, you know what, man? You sound hot, man. What do you look like? You sound like you're very attractive. And it's like, what are you wearing right now? It's like, sir, this is not about what I'm. I'm like, no, 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 no. Are you wearing a polo shirt? I bet you're wearing a polo shirt and you're comfortable. So I would just like do, I would do all these weird and obscene things. Now I just always say, I'm a renter, or uh, what's the other thing that people do? No, I'm a squatter. Yeah,
I'm a
I'm like, no,
squatter.
yeah, I'm a squatter. I'm just
I
squatting
don't
on these
think
people's
it's
houses.
very believable to say I'm a squatter. But yeah, I see. I just have a very clear. If you are not in my contacts and if you are not a verified number, I just don't answer you.
Well, I will answer it, and then because the thing is, if you don't answer it, they'll keep calling under different numbers, and they'll bother you. And like my generic ringtone is kind of annoying, because I have everybody that I know has a specific ringtone, so I know who to pick up for, or like, you know, if it's important to pick up for, or for a family member, or whatever. But when it's the generic one and it's local, and you're like, well, what if it's some? See, the worst thing is if you're, I'm not looking for a new job yet. But if I was, I would have to pick up my phone because it's like, well, what if it's somebody calling about a job opportunity? So imagine everybody who's like trying to get a job or whatever, and they're waiting for a job opportunity, and they pick up the phone. They're like, hey, I want to talk to you about the warranty on your vehicle. What vehicle? I'm homeless. Just anything. It's like, can you get off the phone? Because I'm waiting on a phone call for someone to give me a job or a job opportunity. So those are probably the worst when you don't have a job and you're needing a job. And shout out to everybody out there who's trying to get something better and do something better. Um, but what's your worst experience with that, or like you don't have a bad experience with that?
Well, with customer service?
Yeah, of someone of a spammer just calling you up and just saying, "Your warranty is getting ready to expire. Would you like to renew it?" Or
Oh
something like
no,
that.
it's not exactly a spammer, and I might
Are
get
you the
some
homeowner?
hate for this. There is a local number that calls me without fail every couple of months, and it's to donate to the supplies and maintenance for the local police station. It's
No.
yeah. I say that. I say no. Can you please take me off your calling list? And this guy on the other side will
Oh yeah,
like
he's a jerk.
he will just
Yeah, he's a
talk
jerk.
over the
He's a jerk.
top of me. He won't let me speak. And the second I'm like, take me off your calling list, then he brings up, me being a bad American, and I'm like, you called me, and
That
I've
doesn't
blocked
work
this
on me,
number.
pal.
I have blocked this number several times, and it's like I don't know if they're using like personal cell phones, and I'm like, I am on the no calling list. I'm on the block list. I do not want to receive. Stop calling me because it's a local number. It's a verified number, so I do pick up for this every single time. And I'm just at the point now where I just hear hello, and I'm click.
Well, here's the thing: is I already donate to them because I pay state taxes that pay their salary.
Well, see, I even tried getting into an argument with them one time, and I'm like, I don't like. Do I get any benefit out of it? Like, I live about roughly 20-23 minutes away from any response. Like, if I pay you the money, will you get to my house faster? Will if I give you money, will that make it where when I call, you're going to be
I
here?
have a
Because
get
last
out of
time I
jail free
checked,
ticket for donating a little extra money than what I already donate.
yeah. Well,
Did
the
I
thing
get a
is,
jail
it
free card?
is this police station that calls me
Uh huh.
isn't even the ones that respond to the area. I mean, they're the closest police station, but they're not the ones who respond to my area because I live like in this weird district area. I'm
Oh,
not going to
I
donate
have
to
state
you.
troopers that are always begging me for money. I'm like, get bent, buddy. I'm
Yeah,
not giving you
yeah,
crap. I pay state taxes and federal taxes. I'm
yeah.
not
It's
giving you
like you
jack.
you you are close to my house. Like it takes if I do need the police from where I am, I have to wait about 20 some minutes. These people could get to my house in about roughly 10. I have called them before with various issues, and I always get told not their district. They give me the number to the other people. They wish me the best, but as soon as they want money, they mention, oh well, you support the local station. What? No, no, just absolutely not. Just no. It just gets
That
me
is
because
wild, by the way.
it's the same thing with the fire station. There's two fire stations. So when I was when I was 14, we actually had a really bad house fire.
Okay.
It took 17 minutes for the fire station to actually get there. There is a fire station about 7 minutes away from my house. Not their jurisdiction. We had to wait for the Lexington ones to get here, but the local one couldn't make it.
Hey, we know your house is burning down, but it's not our problem.
Yeah, by the time they got there, it was a complete total loss. The roof was caving in on itself. Honestly, after everybody was out of the house safely and most of the pets were, the firefighters just kind of sat on the lawn, and so did we, and we just kind of watched the entire house just, I don't know, get
Do you
licked
think
by the
fire?
flame.
Do you ever think firefighters bring marshmallows when they know it's just like a no win? It's like, hey, here, let's just roast some marshmallows and
Honestly,
try to be
that's how
fun.
I felt that night because I mean, now, no offense to the people who came. I know it was not their fault. Like I am in no way, shape, and form in any way trying to blame the firefighters. Like, I'm very grateful that they were there, because as a very in shock girl, it was very nice to have that those type of people around me for the comfort. It was really great. Well, not great that the house burned down, just great that they were there, if that made sense. But I think those types of lines are stupid, like the jurisdiction lines. Like, if there's a police station right down the main road from where I live, then they should also be able to respond here.
Now I
It's
have a
right there.
question. Did they ask your dad or whoever was there, like, hey, do you have insurance?
Um, honestly, the entire night was about a good 50% blur. I don't really remember a lot of conversation because I was mainly just staring at the house, just completely going up in smoke.
Did now the thing is, were y'all able to salvage anything, like any pictures or anything like that? Because I know some other people have
No,
had like their houses burned down and they lost like all their baby pictures, they lost
we
all their kid pictures,
yeah,
everything.
and the things that we do have from it are severely smoke damaged still. There's still burn marks on stuff. I mean, we
Yo,
were able to keep.
digital to have digital now is very important because if you actually do have a house fire or anything, those things still exist online. So if you have a Facebook page, Instagram, whatever, that's the cool thing. Or like, do you pay like because you mentioned Google and the Google Mail? I actually pay them $2 a month for 100 gigs worth of memory, on
Oh yeah,
their
I've
drive
seen
or
that,
whatever.
but I haven't used enough of their free for that to be worth it. When I put it, because I store all of my pictures, and that's why I store all of my pictures on. Actually, use the Amazon account because if you have a
Okay,
Prime account, you
I
have
do.
storage. Because we did lose a lot of photos. Thankfully, my dad had a lot of them backed up
Okay,
on a separate drive, but
yo,
the original physical photos were lost. We lost about a good, I want to say 85 to 90% of the house. The only stuff that was saved was severely um, smoke stained. I mean,
uh
it
huh.
was. Now I have to say though, the Wii's in that we had a Wii. Um,
Yo, did the we survive?
the Wii survived.
Yo,
The Wii
what's
had,
up, man?
I think they
Nintendo
said
is one of the
10.
toughest freaking systems of all
Yeah,
time.
it had
Homeboy done
10.
survived a burning building.
It not only did it survive a burning building with an electrical fire, it had 10,000 gallons of water dumped on it. We were able to dry it out and it still worked. I think somebody still has it to this day.
Yo,
Um
I was just saying, if you don't have it, you should actually get it and actually put it like actually do a video and put it on. I bet you Nintendo would buy it and actually give you a new system if you still had it.
yeah, we were just so surprised it worked. I mean, it was what? I mean, now the GameCube sadly, um and I have gotten a replacement for it. The GameCube did not survive, and I think that's because of, I don't know. I think it's because of where it was located because it was in my room, and my room was closer to it.
Okay,
Um, yeah, like I'd have to draw you out like the house, like pretty much everything super close to the fire, completely lost. Everything kind of like towards the edges of the
okay,
house were just severely smoke burned. So I actually had one sister who got most of her stuff, even though they said for hazard reasons they had to throw away all textiles. So I mean, it's one of those things that we look back on and we laugh about the occasional thing, but it was also pretty scary. I mean, it was pretty interesting. Like, have you ever
that's
seen fire shoot out of an electrical outlet? I don't see why that's not in more horror shows. I mean, that's pretty scary.
hey, well, I think I've seen it in Backdraft. If you ever saw the movie Backdraft.
No, I've
Good.
not.
It's about firefighters and like their struggles being firefighters. Good movie. I think Kurt Russell's in it. One of the Baldwin. I think either Billy or Steve Baldwin's in it. It's a good movie though. Check out Backdraft if you like firefighter movies. And then of course, there's two other firefighter movies. There's one with John Cena, and there's one with the what's that guy? Howie Long, where he actually plays a firefighter as well, but he plays like a firefighter in like the forest. And I know I'm going off about firefighters. Um, But yeah, he plays a firefighter in the forest. Howie Long. And there's one more, but I can't think of the name. Oh, there's one with John Wayne where he's a firefighter, and that's pretty awesome because John Wayne's a cool cat. But
Yeah.
what are you currently listening to?
Well, I know that you are talking about music, but my thing is books.
Yep.
I have finished The Hobbit. Is I really just love the story all over. Um,
I'm never going to say a bad thing about The Hobbit. There's lots of good games about The Hobbits.
The Hobbit was that is a really good book. I just liked how Smaug died there at the end. Like I thought for sure Baggins was going to be the one to be the hero. I mean, but no, he's cowering in the mountains like 3 days after the dragon's death because somebody who's actually qualified killed the dragon. I mean, I thought that was really good. I cried when the dwarven Thorin died. Um, that was sad, especially when he disowned Bilbo there at the end, and then he
Spoiler
made
alert,
yeah,
everybody.
just spoiler. Okay, but the book's been out forever. I cried. I was at work when Thorin died, and I actually had to pause it, like get myself together before I cleaned more consoles. I'm almost done with the Order of the Phoenix. So far, favorite Harry Potter book. Like that one so far that's my favorite, and it's mainly because of the pure sass coming from the adults in that book.
The Half Blooded Prince is going to be your favorite. Trust me.
Yeah.
Good book.
I mean, you have Sirius and Snape getting into it like they're school children. You have McGonagall walking past Peeves going, it's unscrews the other way, all because they're all upset with this pink Umbridge lady. And I love it. I love it when there's books of adults acting like adults. Not like, oh, I'm an adult and I'm super, I always make the right decisions. Like I just love the fact that this entire book is just complete chaos where all the adults have just they've had enough. They're all stressed out and they're just like, you know what? F it. Peeves, it unscrews the other way. All right. You want to mess with me, Umbridge, Pink Lady, fine. I'm gonna call you to my classroom every time I have an issue. I'm gonna make you walk. Because that's exactly everybody's thinking. It's great. I love Order of the Phoenix so far. That is so far my favorite book. It's
Yeah,
great.
Umbridge is such a pain in the butt, and as you see later on, she's even more of a pain in the butt. Hello, kitty cat. Hello, super kitty. You so pretty. Um, I want
Yeah,
to.
I she is the only character that I have heard, and I Voldemort at this point has even come in the book.
Um,
She's the only
he who shall not be named.
Voldemort. Um, she's the only character that I have wished to die. I am waiting for her off scene. I am waiting for it. I am hoping that every single chapter she is brought in. I am what I'm really hoping for is for the giant that's in the forest to do away with her because the giant is like so violent. I'm just that is what I'm really cheering for currently. I hate this woman. I have never hated a fictional character with this much I don't know, a vengeance before.
Okay.
I hate Umbridge. I'm okay with Fudge. I'm okay with Voldemort at this point. I hate Umbridge. I hate her. She's the real villain. I hate her.
Well, Fudge is the villain too, onto his own.
Yeah. But
Um. Oh
I
yeah.
hope
Oh
he
yeah.
has a
She's
redemption
horrible.
arc. She is horrible.
She has no redemption arc, by the way.
She is
She's
like
just horrible.
every Karen rolled into one. I mean, she is more evil than Voldemort. I mean, she's just terrible. She's horrible.
Well, she's an elitist. That's her problem. Is that she's an elitist and she thinks she's better than everybody, and she thinks that she deserves a sense of power and what she feels is deserving. But this is a flash drive. I always try to put, and I have a few flash drives or an external drive that I put all the backups, even though I have it in the clouds. I also put all the pictures of like family pictures, whatever, all on these drives. So that way I always have them with me just in case something happens. And then I still have them, X, Y, and Z. But I am currently listening to. So do you ever just hop on Instagram and then you see some advertisement?
All the time. It's Instagram.
Okay. So I saw some advertisement for some arcade games because because I've been talking about arcades, and of course your phone listens to you. And when you talked about, I'll make this quick, and I'll go back to my story. When you talked about uninstalling things onto your phone, or just apps in general, do you know even if you uninstall Facebook on your phone, that it keeps a ghost profile of you if you ever come back, or just a ghost profile that sets in the thing? And then if you ever said let it contact your, if you get full permission, anybody who's on your phone that's not a member of Facebook, they'll automatically have a ghost profile for them, waiting for them. And people can look this up. This is not me making this up. You can find this. This is just direct information. So there's always a profile, even if you delete your profile from
Yeah.
Facebook. But back to my original point. Um, so it's for arcades. It was like 80 arcades, like Pac Man, stuff like that. So I was looking at it, and it was playing a song that I hadn't heard probably since I was like maybe 6 or 7, from Survivor. And apparently, my wife hates Survivor. And I said, "How can you hate Survivor? They gave you Eye of the Tiger. They've given you so many good albums, A Burning Heart. I can go on and on. It's like I just don't like it. It's like you have a. She just hates 80s music. Well, she hates 80s. I guess contemporary rock music, if that's the case. I've always loved Survivor. And it's a song I hadn't heard, and it's like something about the game. No, caught in the game, and like the it sounds like your typical Survivor, because I think it's one of their first, like it's either their tech demo, or like their demo, or like their very very first album. And I love the beat to it. It sounds like a lot of their other songs, because a lot of Survivor songs sound the same. And I just found it today. And I actually went on YouTube, or YouTube Music, downloaded the song, and now it's in my playlist of Survivor things, because that's not even their greatest hits. And it's almost like it's a throwaway song, but it's a really good song. So I was really stoked about it. And then of course I actually ended up listening to Survivor before we came actually to do the show, because I really when I used to run like 10 miles for fun back in Germany, or even here in America, I'd run like 5 or 6 just for fun. I love running until I have plantar fasciitis. Now I hate running. Now I can ride a bike, but it, like American roads, and I'm not going to put down my people, are not made for bike riding, and people are on their phones not paying attention. So I'm not trying to get killed. So if I ever ride my bike, I actually go to an elementary school that's all kind of zoomed in, and I ride in that parking lot on the weekends where there's no one there, and try to put in a couple of miles when I can. I'm actually hoping to do that this weekend with my own child, and me and her can be on our bikes, because she's still. Does your child still have training wheels on their bike, or no?
We're just introducing bikes to my son currently.
Okay, okay. So mine still has training wheels, and she likes her tricycle more than she likes her bike. And her bike's a Disney bike. It's the princesses from a faraway land that has frozen powers. There you go. So that way Disney doesn't get me there. It flags my video. But yeah, so she'll hop on her tricycle, and she won't ride her bicycle. And then like I'll even do the bicycle song from Queens, which is an awesome song, by the way. Um, and she'll say, "Daddy, I don't want to ride my bicycle. I want," and she'll have the training wheels on it, but she wants, and all her friends ride bicycles. Like all the 5-year olds, all the 6-year olds, the 7-year olds in the neighborhood, they all ride bicycles with no training wheels, and she wants to ride with them, but she'll go get a tricycle rather than that. And I'm like, baby, you are old enough to ride a bicycle, but I don't know if it's the confidence, and like I don't even put knee pads on her anymore or stuff like that, because I used to be like super. I was the helicopter dad of always being on her 24/7. And now, because my wife said I babied her too much, it's kind of slowed her progress. And so now I just like, okay, fine. I'm not going to baby her. I'll let her get X, Y, and Z, and then that's on you. So everything is my wife's fault going forward, and not mine. Um, so uh, I just want to say this with clarity. Um, don't be like me and baby your child constantly, because it may be some repercussions that you may have held them back,
That's right. Be
unbeknownst to
like
you.
me and throw them to the wolves. They will learn as nature intended.
Now, is there anything you'd like to give a shout out to before we get out of here tonight?
My usual shout out to my husband who
Okay.
doesn't listen to my podcast, but I'm very thankful for him working so hard and so being so good at his job. That way I can have fun and do my hobbies. I guess a shout out to my parents who do listen. So please
Shout
don't
out to
ground
your
me.
awesome and amazing parents.
That's right, my awesome parents. Please don't ground me for the stories that I tell. I promise I do my best. I get commentary from them and I love it.
Now, I would like to give a shout out to the Resident Sterile show on YouTube. Definitely check that out. It's got lots of great shorts. It's our show is pretty family friendly sometimes, but their show is awesomely family friendly. It's about going out into I always say the woods, but out into the world, to flea markets, to garage sales, and getting games. So if you're actually a big gamer and you love games, it's about going out and getting games. And it's him with his children, and it's super awesome. Also, now look, if you're an adult, I recommend checking out the Loot Bros podcast because it's more like a super hardcore gaming show, but there's a lot of profanity. I'm a part of that show, and on that show, when I do it, I was not on this week's episode. I took the night off because they had a bunch of other guests on there, and it didn't need to be 8 guys trying to all speak to each other because that's just unfulfilling. I also want to give a shout out to the HorrorCon SC that's coming September the 16th and 17th. And anybody who actually lives here in South Carolina, it's at the Jamil Temple in South Carolina, September 17th and 16th and 17th. And we will have a booth there. I believe on the final day we'll be doing a panel, and we'll probably put that show up for the Loot Bros, or for the Resident Sterile show. It just depends upon what Resident Sterile would like to do because that's his show, and I am showing up. Hopefully, Bug will be showing up as well for that. We're actually going to have, hopefully, she will agree to be on the Loot Bros in the upcoming couple of weeks, maybe in August, and then she can come to. Hopefully, she'll be joining us on that panel. But it's a HorrorCon SC. You can look that up and get your tickets. Come hang out with us. That'd be cool. We'll talk comic books. We'll talk horror movies, and we'll talk about things that scare me, which is everything. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who's listened. And if we were able to entertain you tonight, please like. And if you think we do a good enough job, please share and subscribe. And comment. Thank you. Have a good night. Woo! Scary music, man.